Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday Night Titans. It is episode number 45 for your Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. I am your host, JD from New York. As always, joined by my co-host tonight for the first time ever, Mr. Sir Wilkins is joining us on Tuesday Night Titans. How are you doing, my friend, this evening?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm excited to be on here. I am ready to talk some smack. Let's talk some Becky Hogan.
Becky Hogan? Is that what they're calling her now?
That's what they're calling her. She is trending online. Becky Hogan.
Jesus. Oh my goodness. We'll get into that for sure. I know the community was very up in arms about Becky Lynch winning the Women's World Championship last night. I actually did not mind it because I saw the bigger picture, and I know a lot of people, including Brian Gewirtz, tweeted out, let the story play out, because everybody is a Liv Morgan fan nowadays, but we will certainly get into that this evening.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
What's a lie?
That everybody's a Liv Morgan fan. That's what they claim, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that for sure. We also got a lot to go on with AEW. We got AEW Dynasty. We got Sunday's pay-per-view, which is in the books. Tremendous show from AEW. I thought it was a fantastic show. I didn't think it was better than Revolution, but I thought what they put on Sunday night was unbelievable, including Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, and then Swerve Strickland winning the World Heavyweight Championship, making history for All Elite Wrestling. And we will certainly get into that. We got news on Vince McMahon. We got news on Seth Rollins. Releases. Cameron Grimes is the latest casualty in WWE. He is now gone, along with Von Wagner and 5 others that were released on Friday during SmackDown last week. And we got news on Vince McMahon as well, which I'm sure is everybody's favorite human being nowadays. But, my friend, I want you to let everybody know exactly where you're coming from, what you do, where they can find you. The platform is absolutely yours.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sir Wilkins. I am 1/3 of the Jobber-Tears podcast. I'm just a kid from Queens that now lives in the humble abode of Jersey. And I am here and I'm a lover of wrestling for my entire life. I am here to talk smack, talk a little love, talk even more smack, then talk some more love. All on this show tonight. And we're going to have a good time.
There you go. Jobber-Tears podcast. Where can they find that? It's on YouTube. It's on all the traditional audio platforms as well.
It's everywhere. Just Google us, baby. We are everywhere. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. Join the Jobber-Tears Facebook group for great smack talk about professional wrestling. And anytime you're in town in New York City and a pay-per-view is going on, you are welcome to come by Legends Bar and be among wrestling fans and enjoy a WWE pay-per-view or an AEW pay-per-view at a beautiful watch party with great food and great people.
There you go. That's there's nothing better than getting a bunch of rowdy wrestling fans together for a big pay-per-view or PLE live. Love it. So make sure you guys go find Wilkins wherever you can, and make sure you guys go out and listen to his Jobber-Tears podcast. If you guys love high-energy, entertaining content, I know I deliver my own brand, but Wilkins is on another level. So make sure you guys go and do what you got to do over there. And you can find me on social. You guys know the deal, at JD from NY206, X, Instagram, TikTok. I'm also on Cameo. And please make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell for all notifications. Helps me out tremendously. Now, we are going to let Wilkins start us off, man. What do you want to start us off with this show on Tuesday night tonight?
I want to talk about Becky Hogan, baby. I started off with that.
All right.
Let's dig into that real quick, because I am with you when it comes to let it play out. And also, listen, I like Liv Morgan. Not going to sit here and lie to you and say, I'm not a fan. I fucks with her. I fucks with what she does. But she wasn't the one to get the title on Monday night. She wasn't the one. At all. I don't care what nobody will tell you. Everybody will say, oh my gosh, she does. No. She did not deserve it to get it yet. We need the best horse in that stable to get it. Because you know what? It's going to trickle down to everybody else. Am I incorrect about this? Please tell me if I am.
No, I absolutely agree with you on that. I want to backtrack a little bit to Rhea Ripley vacating the championship. Now, I know a lot of people love Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is fantastic. She came into her own in the Judgment Day. I think she is up there now as the leader of that division, especially on Monday Night Raw, where the division has been very weak. But as far as she is concerned, I'm going to ask you, because this is where I get very opinionated. Rhea Ripley is fantastic, but her title reign, not so much. Not her fault. It's Paul Levesque's fault because the division has no competition. You look at Rhea Ripley's title reign, and you look at one of the most uneventful and uninspired, I would say, lackluster reigns that we've seen in the modern era for Rhea Ripley holding that women's championship. What do you think about that?
The problem was, and this is what I say about the good reigns and the bad reigns. We always knew she was keeping the title. That's the problem. Any good story has conflict. Anytime you see two characters on the screen, you must understand that there's a conflict between the two. And a good reign, a title reign, is always like, yo, she might lose it. We're not sure about it. And for me, only twice I thought maybe she might lose it was with Nia and was against Becky. So I don't think it was boring. I just think she ain't do nothing. I just think she was chilling. She had a B- version of Roman Reigns' title reign.
Yeah.
Minus the great storylines around it, which we call the Bloodline.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I thought it was going. I thought that I didn't really expect Rhea to lose going into WrestleMania with Becky Lynch. I thought she was actually going to hold the championship for the rest of the year as well, going into next year's WrestleMania. And I thought that's exactly where they were going with her. I thought they were going to give her a Gunther-like title run, not Roman Reigns. I don't think we'll ever see another Roman Reigns title run in this generation. But I feel like they would have done with what they did with Gunther with Rhea Ripley. Now we vacate the championship, and we're looking at, all right, well, what is WWE doing? A battle royal to come up with the championship. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, why are they doing it in a battle royal? Why aren't they doing it in a tournament? Well, we have the Queen of the Ring tournament coming up in May. It would be stupid for WWE to do two tournaments back-to-back to crown a champion and then a Queen of the Ring. I mean, that's just ridiculous. WWE could have easily done the championship and withheld the championship and put it on the line in the Queen of the Ring tournament, but they didn't opt to do that. I thought that was the best option. So here we are with this Battle Royal, and now you're looking at a Raw Women's division that, honestly, Wilkins, the last three were the only three that were viable to win that match. It was Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch. Now, believe it or not, I was not going with Becky. My heart wasn't going with Becky. I felt like Becky was going to win, but I actually said this on my show last Monday. I would not have minded if they gave the title to Nia Jax. And I know you're a Nia Jax fan.
Oh, we know. You know.
I would have given the title to Nia Jax because, believe it or not, I was actually against Nia Jax. I wasn't a big fan of Nia Jax before she came back, and I think that's been very well documented. But I will give her flowers, man. She has stepped up. She has looked great. She's played her role great. Her in-ring has not been as bad as it was. She's putting things together. She's had some of the best matches that she's had with Rhea Ripley, with Becky Lynch. I mean, the woman is killing it. I would have absolutely put the championship on her and solidify her as a top star in that division. But now we're looking at the Becky Lynch situation. Everybody's saying, oh, WWE, Paul Levesque, Triple H, this, that. They're all going right back to what they know, and it's one of the four horsewomen. So I could see why people are upset. But, you know, when it came down to the final three, you're looking at the rest of the division. Nobody else stood a chance.
Not at all, because it's weak.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying in-ring ability, it's characters, which leads to back the earlier part of this conversation of us talking about Ripley's reign being so subpar. A good reign, like I said before, needs quality competition. I'm a football guy. I'm going to talk a little football analogy. Kansas City Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. Why were we so on edge at the Super Bowl? Great competition from the 49ers. So when you're looking at Ripley's whole reign, it wasn't top-tier competition except for the two that I mentioned, which was Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. So what we saw last night and what we all were watching, I hope opened up Paul Levesque's eyes and said, yo, I got some building to do. Because this is a little on the doo-doo side.
Yeah,
when it comes to this division.
Yeah, it's a little lackluster for a better choice of words for sure. Then we get Becky Lynch winning the championship. It came down to Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, and then Becky Lynch eliminated Liv with, I believe, a manhandle slam on the outside on the apron, and then one thing leads to another. She's crowned the new champion, and then social media is crying, and everybody is against Becky Lynch. The Liv Morgan side is against Becky. The Becky fans are throwing it back in the Liv Morgan stand's face. And now we're looking at a situation where people are questioning if it's the right decision. And I said last night, if they just let it sit for a little bit, I think everything will make sense. Because if there's one guy that I trust, it's going to be Paul Levesque. I'm a big Paul Levesque guy. Loved what he did with NXT. I think he's changed WWE for the short time he's been in charge for the better. And I'm going to trust the process. The thing is, with the draft coming up, and I've been trying to hammer this home with a lot of people, the draft is where things are really going to take shape. And this is the first year that Paul Levesque is in charge completely of the WWE Draft. Last year, it was not that way. It was Vince and a little bit of Triple H. This year, it's all Triple H. Now we're looking at the draft, and I feel like Paul Levesque is taking Becky into the draft, and he wanted that showrunner. He wanted that ace up his sleeve so that when he gets the rosters where he wants them, then he could start making storylines and start building a feud. Rhea's not going to be back for about 4 or 5 months is what the rumor is. So with Becky winning the championship, I feel like the Battle Royal was the perfect place for her to do that. Now, I want you to think about if Liv Morgan won the Battle Royal, would everybody be happy about the way Liv Morgan won the championship? I know I wouldn't as a fan. I think that Battle Royal last night was a complete piece of shit. But if you're looking at Becky winning that, the champion now, Liv Morgan has a built-in feud with Becky because if you remember, Becky and Liv wrestled right before WrestleMania, and Becky won. Now Liv Morgan's on her revenge tour. It's a built-in storyline. Now she's looking to get not only back at Rhea, which she partially did, she's looking to get back at Becky. How are the optics going to look if Liv pins Becky one-on-one and wins the championship compared to what these people wanting last night, her winning the Battle Royal? I think her beating Becky is much bigger for her than winning a stupid Battle Royal.
Great point. But I also don't see her as, just yet at least, that champion.
No, I agree.
That want to carry a division. We tried this before. It didn't work out. And let's just be honest here. Becky is needed to build her up. And it's gonna take a while. We must fully be invested in her after she wins the title. Because every time she won, everybody was invested when she won the title, and then right after she wins the title, it drops down. You're like, I'm over this.
Now, how much of that has to do with creative? Because Liv Morgan suffered the terrible creative of Vince McMahon. When she pinned Ronda Rousey, won Money in the Bank, beat Ronda Rousey, they didn't really do much with her. So I get where you're going with that, but do you feel like it would be different under Triple H compared to when she was champion with Vince McMahon?
I'm gonna need convincing, bro.
You're gonna need listen. I'm right with you.
I'm gonna need convincing. I'm not one to like completely shit on something. You prove me wrong, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But I saw it already, and yes, you can argue. You can say that it's the whole Vince situation, bad booking, all of that. But remember what Macho Man said. The cream always rises to the top. So maybe this time around it might be better. Prove me wrong. Please. Please prove me wrong.
I just hope that everybody understands that a little patience is necessary here. Liv Morgan obviously is in the plans. I mean, she's had, she's been in situations where she was in the final 3 for the Royal Rumble. She was in the Elimination Chamber. I mean, what does she do in the chamber? Didn't she pin Bianca Belair in the Elimination Chamber? I mean, I think she eliminated Bianca and Tiffany Stratton. So it's like, I mean, obviously something's going on there. Now you got a built-in feud with Becky, a built-in feud with Rhea. She's probably in a position that many would die for. So I don't know what everybody's going so crazy for about her winning the championship. Like, to me, if I'm a Liv Morgan fan, the chase is better. The chase is where it's at. When she's the champion, what's happening next? Let's see how the rosters shape up. So if Liv Morgan is the champion, who is going to be lined up to go one-on-one with Liv Morgan? What type of competition she's going to have? What good is it if she's champion now? Leave it to Becky to set the table, and then Liv Morgan to take it.
I think she's, like you said, a chaser, but she works well as an underdog.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when the underdog wins the championship, you don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
She's the winner. Who cares? What do I need to care about? And maybe that's creative. Maybe that's her. I don't know. But if she does win the championship down the road, you got to show me why I need to care about you post-win. And that's my only thing with her. Because she's that underdog. She's that fighting from the bottom that they always talk about in professional wrestling. Fighting from the bottom. And then you go, oh, that fighting spirit. She's the epitome of that. But now you just won. You pinned me. Oh, okay, I don't care no more. That's my whole beef. And we kind of on the same page with it. But it's just, for me, I'm not emotionally invested post-win when it comes to her. But, like I said, prove me the fuck wrong.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, everybody's that's the most important thing. How is she going to maintain interest when she wins the championship? And I think a lot of these people are really getting ahead of themselves because, let's be honest, Rhea Ripley was never supposed to lose that championship, and she was forced to vacate the championship. So I hope everybody is prepared for when Liv Morgan wins the championship, that when Rhea Ripley comes back, she's just going to take it back and resume what she was never planned to lose anyway. So enjoy it while it lasts. It's going to happen, but it's going to be very short-lived.
There's nothing wrong with transitional champion.
I know. Listen, it won't be the first time she's a transitional champion, but I agree. Becky Lynch right now, I feel, is the right choice for that. I wouldn't have minded Nia, but I think we are going to get Becky and Liv potentially at Backlash, so we will see what happens there. The other happenings that happened on Monday Night Raw, it was a very lackluster show, in my honest opinion. I know Becky won the World Championship for the ladies. We got Chad Gable's heel turn. I know he is finally on his own, or at least with the somewhat help of the Alpha Academy. I do believe that he will be finding some new Alpha Academy stablemates, and I pitched that the Creeds would be the perfect stablemates for him. Gable's heel turn, Wilkins. What did you think of the heel turn a week ago with Sami Zayn after Sami beat him in Montreal to turn heel after the match, and then give his explanation as to, you know, I was busy training him to beat Gunther, and I was helping these losers here in the Alpha Academy. Now it's all about me, and you're going to help me win the championship because now it's all about Chad Gable. What do you think of the heel turn and this new direction for Chad Gable? Because I mentioned last night on my show that I'm ready for this. Gable deserves it. It is massively overdue. And a heel Gable, with him going out there wrestling the way we know he wrestles, this heel turn is going to be fantastic.
For me, it was about fucking time.
Yeah.
About fucking time he gets that push. And I know we talking about slow burns when it comes to Lim. We talking about, oh, we gotta be patient. Nah. My patience is done when it came to Gable a while ago. You mentioned how great he is in the ring. Absolutely phenomenal. But there's something that he has that a lot of people who are great in the ring doesn't have. Mic skills are amazing.
Absolutely.
He did that promo in the ring with all three of his team members, and he made it believable. You hated him, you were annoyed by him, and a part of you was like, he kind of is right. That's some good mic skills right there, baby. That's some good mic skills. Now combine that with his ridiculously amazing in-ring ability. Oh, he's out of here.
Yeah,
he's out of here.
Yeah, this is going to be a tremendous run. I don't know where we go as far as Gable and when he gets his opportunity. For all we know, he could enter the King of the Ring tournament, and he could be a viable threat in the King of the Ring tournament. But we will have to see how that plays out. But the Intercontinental Championship title picture is looking a little crowded, and I am a huge advocate for that title. I mean, I grew up in the 80s with Mr. Perfect and Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon in the 90s. I love that championship. So when Triple H brought that title back to prominence and put it on Gunther for as long as he did, I mean, I would have had Gunther still be the champion at this point, post WrestleMania, if it was up to me. That's how much I loved what he did with the championship. But to see it in the spotlight that it's in right now, I'm loving it. We got Sami Zayn as the champion. Bronson Reed's involved. Chad Gable's involved. We have Sheamus is back. He's never won the Intercontinental Championship. Where do you see Sami going from here? Because I know Bronson Reed is poking his nose in the Intercontinental Championship title picture, and then Chad Gable wants it. And I mentioned this on Twitter. What about Bronson Reed? I know he's lost to Sami Zayn a few times. If that is the one-on-one match that we're getting for Sami Zayn next to defend that championship, I said I don't see Bronson Reed losing again, or does he win the championship there?
Bronson Reed's losing. He's losing. He's losing. Because we don't want to see Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed. We want to see Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable.
Yeah.
In a championship caliber match, and it's for the championship. Like, that's what we want to see. Now, Bronson Reed, you a utility player. You the big monster. You're going to scare me, and I potentially might lose to you, but I'm not going to lose to you. You're going to be put in there to build up Sami Zayn, bring him to that mountaintop. Then our boy, Chad Gable's going to come in and bring Sami Zayn down from that mountaintop, and now he's the new Intercontinental Champion. Bronson Reed is a piece. He's a piece right now on the chessboard. That's all he is. And maybe down the line he might get some transitional championship type of move, but no. This is about Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Bronson Reed, you there to help build up Sami Zayn a little bit.
There you go. The way that you put it, I agree. I don't want to see Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed again. I'm a big Bronson Reed guy. Don't get me wrong, but the money match is now a heel Gable versus Sami Zayn, I don't know how Sami takes that championship out of that match and retains it. My problem is that they took the belt off of Gunther and put it on Sami Zayn, and now everybody's expecting long reigns with the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn might lose this belt a month from now, and it'll be nothing like Gunther's reign. Do you have a problem? I may be the only one in this boat. Do you have a problem with Gunther holding the belt for 666 days, only for Sami Zayn to beat him and then drop the title maybe 2 months down the line? Are you looking at the short reign being a bad thing, or are you okay with Sami being in the middle to get it on somebody who's going to hold it for a while?
Listen, I understand where you can come from that.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, damn, this was a masterpiece of a movie. This is Godfather 1. And then we get Godfather 3.
Yeah.
And you had a masterpiece when it came to Gunther. But we need that. We need some way something to come off, some way that title come off of him. That give us that emotional high real quick. We sniffed that emotional Sami Zayn title win. But now we on to the real thing, which is gonna be Chad Gable. And it's okay. We're just gonna have some fast food right now until we get to the real meal, which is Chad Gable. Because if we didn't take it off of our man Gunther, how else would we have taken it off of him? Because I can't see Chad Gable doing it because he lost so many times to him. Sami was the right person, so we can give it to Chad. Then Gunther may come back in that picture, and then we had that revenge match.
So going back to what you just said, you thought that Gable and Gunther was the not the match to do at WrestleMania. Now we're going back a couple of weeks. You were not in favor of doing Gable and Gunther at WrestleMania.
No.
Wow.
No. Because Chad wasn't where he's at right now. See, I needed that angriness.
Yeah.
Because he kept losing, it wasn't going the right way, and we're like, damn. Now I'm invested. He gotta win. Heel or babyface, he gotta win now. I'm invested even more. Sami comes into the picture. We go, okay, all right, whatever. Now he destroys Sami, gets the title back. Oh, we here. And then rematch. I'm the big dogs in town now. Win or lose, I loving it. That's my philosophy. I'm a weirdo. I'm weird, guys. Everybody that's watching, I'm a weird guy.
You know, I see where you're coming from. I think a lot of people, including myself, thought, Sami Zayn was an Intercontinental Champion before. And I actually put Sami Zayn and value Sami Zayn a little bit more than the Intercontinental Championship. I thought that the Gunther and Sami match would have been great, but for WrestleMania 41, I was in fantasy realm. Gunther, he's going to win the World Championship. I think we all kind of know that at some point this year. And he would be the world champion going into next year's WrestleMania, and Sami would win the big one against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, maybe win the Royal Rumble. So that's why I was probably more pro Gable, because of the story that they told. The only thing that I didn't like is that they went away from it from September and that last match that he had with Gunther. They took the rest of the year off in 2023 and then only built upon it to include him in this storyline because of the injuries that were mounting up going into Mania season, and Gunther needed a new opponent because Brock Lesnar was no longer available for Mania. So I see where you're coming from, but I still probably myself would have went with Chad Gable. But the way you pictured it, and Gable now needing that hunger and that fire and that just asshole tendency, I see where you're coming from with that, though.
Because I go back to, and I keep bringing up the Liv thing, and I keep bringing up that, like, when people lose, especially when you're kind of a fan favorite like Chad, people get more invested. And then any type of, because I'm a huge sports guy. Everybody that's watching, I'm a huge sports guy. Football, basketball, hockey, baseball, I love them all. And when somebody's losing, especially a superstar, potential superstar, that's when you're like, oh, okay. When they finally get it, you're more invested in it. Bad guy or good guy. Like LeBron James kept losing to the Pistons, and then he finally goes to the Heat. He gets his heel turn when he goes to the Heat. That's Chad Gable right now.
Yeah. I like that analogy. I really do like that analogy. So I'm looking forward to Gable's heel turn for sure. I think it's going to be tremendous business. And like we both said, it's a massively long time coming. So good for him. And I'm very excited to see where he goes. The other big thing that happened on Monday Night Raw was Imperium. Supposedly, they may be together, but maybe not, depending on how the draft treats them on Friday going into Monday. But Giovanni Vinci was kicked out from what we saw last night of Imperium. Giovanni Vinci kicked out by Ludwig Kaiser. He was doing the business for Gunther. I don't know where this is headed, and this is just like the Becky Lynch situation. I'm going to let this one play out. For me, and my whole, I usually analyze things head on, and then I sit with it, and then I dissect it a little bit more, and then come to a realization. But my first inclination here was, why are we breaking up one of the best tag teams, not only in WWE, but possibly all of pro wrestling, in Vinci and Kaiser? Imperium, pound for pound, are fucking incredible. So you just split the tag team divisions again after having all these months with one champion in the division. Now we got two sets of championships, and you're breaking up possibly the best tag team that you got, pound for pound, in the company. What did you think of this? And head on, do you think this is a good move for Imperium to break away these two? Because now the potential and the rumor is that they may be adding a new member. What do you make of this?
So this is my thing with it, and it wasn't because of tag team. When you have a tag team, usually there's one that's bound to be a single superstar, and there's one that's kind of going to float around. And that's what I see with Imperium. Kaiser, that's the guy. Da Vinci, he's great, but he's not the guy. And when I saw the breakup, I was like, I see what you're trying to do with one person, but what are you going to do with the other person? And I wasn't thinking tag team like you're thinking, division-wise, and you made a good point, but mine was like, this singles run, I don't see one doing well by themselves. That was my whole thing when I saw that. I was like, why would you do this? Especially when one of them is like, we haven't got a full field. I mean, he's not the more outgoing one. Maybe that might change. Like we always say, let's sit on it. Let's see where they go. Maybe this was a punishment. Maybe this was something else that we're not seeing yet. But if this is a breakup, one might drown in the water, and one is going to swim the shore.
Yeah,
that was my whole thing with that.
That's what I'm afraid of, and I feel like, and I take nothing away from him because Giovanni Vinci is an incredible pro wrestler, but like you said, there's no character there. Now, I don't know if you guys remember when NXT 2.0 first got started, Vinci was actually a part of Imperium, and when Vince called up Imperium, or when Imperium got called up, Vince didn't call up Vinci. It was only Kaiser and Gunther, and Kaiser was like the ring guy, the mic guy for Gunther. He would only do the introductions, and he would be a lackey and a loser. So when Triple H got more involved in creative, then he called up Giovanni Vinci, and Imperium, the way we saw them on Black and Gold, got called up to the main roster. Now I feel like with Vinci, you know, with his NXT 2.0 character, it was more like an Italian, you know, it was very, I don't know how to describe it. He was like a pretty boy Italian guy with the big watches and the fancy suits and like the cool vibe to him. I don't know if he's going to go back to something like that, but even then he didn't really have any charisma. He didn't have any mic skills. He wasn't really outgoing like you said. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with him, and maybe they move him back down to NXT. I think he's too good for that. Or Ilya Dragunov is dead set on the draft. He's getting called up. I don't know if he's going to team with Vinci and come to his aid to battle Imperium because him and Gunther have some history, or maybe they replace Vinci with Ilya Dragunov in Imperium, and then Vinci is just cast off, like you said, to do nothing. I don't really know. This situation really bothers me because this is the one I can't really, you know, pinpoint exactly where they're going.
It's rough because it's like, yo, especially and I know we're gonna talk about it in a bit, the releases we saw.
Yeah.
Where sometimes you called up, you think everything is great, then you're off TV, the next thing you know, you don't have a job. And I don't wish that on anybody. So what are you going to do with him? Is he going it's you're looking at it like, yo, one is already proven, and the other one you're like we're all thinking the same thing right now, like what's going to happen if this is an official breakup? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's one I really can't pinpoint where they're going. Same thing happened last night with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Now, I'm a little bit more excited about because that personally to me is one of the best feuds that WWE's ever really written. What they did in NXT Black and Gold. Their 4 matches were just tremendous business, and I always consider Tommaso Ciampa one of the best heels of the modern era. I mean, the guy was coming out to nothing but booze and no theme music. That's how great and over he was as a heel back during Black and Gold. I'm a little bit more in tune with that. They look to be breaking them up as well. Again, I don't know where it's going, but if I know Triple H, he loves both Ciampa and Gargano, and he may be using this as a vehicle to finally get both of them over and realize, hey, DIY is great, but DIY is the thing of the past. Johnny's a great babyface. He's got those Daniel Bryan-like tendencies. And Tommaso Ciampa, I know what he can do as a heel. If we go and do what we did with him in NXT on the main roster, it could be a recipe for success. What do you make of that situation?
DIY sucked. That's what I make of it. DIY
it's the theme music.
It was everything. It was absolutely in the shits. It was the shits, and it smelled. It smelled like absolute shits. And the reason why, because you have a mega baby face and you have a mega heel working together, and they try to make it work. Because some people can't be a heel. Some people can't be a baby face. Tommaso Ciampa has a face you want to punch. So why you have him doing this babyface shit? No. And what we saw last night makes sense. Let's put him in this heel type of stuff. Let's get busy. Let's make me hate him. Don't put him with anybody. Put him by himself. He's out here fucking people up, making people feel bad about their lives. And you know what? Johnny Gargano, he feels like shit because his best friend left him, and now we get a babyface run. Johnny Gargano is a babyface. That's what it is. He's a nice guy, beautiful family. You can't hate him. What are you going to do with that? He's a babyface. Make him a babyface and keep him as a babyface, but don't put him with Tommaso Ciampa, a guy you want to punch in the face. You ever had that friend that you hang out with that everybody hates? And everybody's like, yo, why are you hanging out with him? Usually I'm that friend, but that's a different conversation. But I've seen it. Like, Tommaso Ciampa's that friend that everybody hates for no reason. Because he has a punchable face. Now, a dude with a punchable face doing, we're all happy. Motherfucker, no!
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you in the way of Tommaso Ciampa for sure. But the thing is, we know that they're real life best friends. So it's like just based off that, it should have worked. It should have gotten over, but it didn't.
Though. He has a punchable face, bro, and I mean that. It's a punchable face. It does not work in professional wrestling. I'll give you an example quickly. Right, I'm training. I'm at House of Glory. Shout out to Amazing Red. He literally came to me and said, "You cannot be a babyface. You are too unlikable." That is Tommaso Ciampa. And there's nothing wrong with him. He's probably a great guy. I would love to have a non-alcoholic beverage with him. Love to work out with him. He seems nice. But in the professional wrestling scene, he's a dickhead. And I don't want to see a dickhead be a babyface. That's just me.
Yeah, you saying that actually is bringing me back to the NXT days because he did it so incredibly well, and Gargano played his role incredibly well, and that's where their magic was made. And if they are going in that direction and they're going to use each other to get where they need to be and go call back to what they did all those years ago, I mean, I'm not going to have a problem with that because, I mean, that's exactly what made both guys. So, yes, I totally agree with you. I wouldn't say he's got a punchable face, but he's much more of a villain than he is a good guy.
So does Triple H. Punchable face. And that makes them great heels. You don't want to punch The Rock in the face. You want to punch Triple H in the face. Punchable faces make great heels. That's just me.
Now, what about Cody? A lot of people think Cody's got a punchable face.
Nah, he's just pretty. Everybody hates a pretty boy. He's just a pretty motherfucker.
All right.
Everybody hates a pretty boy.
Those are the happenings that happened on Monday Night Raw. Again, a very lackluster show, but it was all setting up for the draft. And I describe Monday Night Raw as the final day before you guys move out to a new apartment, and you got all your shit just laying around in a bunch of boxes everywhere, and you're sitting on one sole piece of furniture waiting for the moving company to come. That's what Monday Night Raw felt like to me. And Friday is going to be interesting. We'll get to see where everybody starts falling into place, and then Monday the draft continues. Quickly before we move on to the actual news, as far as the draft is concerned, and I know you remember the drafts from previous years, how sterile they were, how very ordinary and boring they were. What are you looking for as far as different for Triple H's draft? I know he's got leaf fitting and the production has been on point. It's been one of the best things that WWE's changed in so many years. How do you think that they're going to change the draft? Are we going to see more sports presentation for the draft? Are we going to see, I don't know, the general managers get more involved, maybe some possible trades? Is it going to feel more like a sports draft instead of a, hey, man, we're going to draft this guy over here and just this guy over here, and then we're going to have random matches? I mean, it was just ridiculous. What are you expecting from the draft?
I expected, like you just said, a sports type of feel. There was one year, I think they had just went to Fox, I think it was, and they had, like, Fox War Room, where you get a look into listen, it was bad, but it was cute. And you would get a look into how when the teams draft like in the NFL, when they draft a team, you see all the coaches and all the administrative people in the room about to make a call. And that's what I expect. That's what I want exactly. Like, give me that feel and then make it feel like a big deal. And shout out to Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. Like, they're going to be involved. We're going to see them two involved, going back and forth. I expect some trades. I expect somebody to be pulling the rug from under each other. Like, I expect that to be there because the draft, like you said, has been sterile for the past couple of years. Let's make it a big deal because you're completely switching everything up. So I'm expecting that sports-like feel, fake phone calls being made. Oh, I just signed this person. Oh, I got this person. Like, they should be feuding. Like, they kind of have been, and they've been kind of teasing that with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. But I want to see that. That's exactly what I want to see. I want to have that feel like, yo, what? And I want the unexpected to happen, not this corny shit. Oh, Austin Theory It is going to SmackDown. Match.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. The one thing I would hope that they do, and I know they made a big deal about it on television. Braun Breaker was, I would say, courted by Nick Aldis. He signed to SmackDown. So was Jade Cargill. She signed the contract or was given this big spotlight on SmackDown. She's now with the SmackDown brand, and Nick Aldis went out and signed these 2 big free agents. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to turn around a month later, and they're going to be possibly drafted away to SmackDown, going to Monday Night Raw. The one thing I would keep the same here as far as those 2, I would keep them on SmackDown because you gave them valuable television time. You made a big deal about Nick Aldis signing them to SmackDown, so they should remain on SmackDown. I think Jade stays on SmackDown anyway because they're going after the Tag Team Championships, her and Bianca Belair. And then Braun Breaker, I feel like, would be best suited for SmackDown. And Carmelo Hayes, he's going to be a part of the draft. Ilya Dragunov, going to be a part of the draft. I think that they would be a nice addition to Monday Night Raw. But I would keep Jade and Braun Breaker already to SmackDown. Stay there.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But I kind of want to see Braun on Raw a little bit. Like, what if Nick Aldis pulls a shady move on Adam Pearce pulls a shady move on Nick Aldis. Like, there's a video of you see Braun Breaker and Adam Pearce out to dinner or something, like they're convoluting something to way to get him out of his contract. Maybe that could be a mini storyline. Like, I want to see these mini storylines within storylines. Like, did they do something shady? Is it against the law book? Like some weird, they made up some law that you couldn't talk to, draftees or something like that in real sports. Like, that would be kind of cool because I kind of want to see Braun on Raw. I see him as a Raw guy. But I get what you're saying, but I really see him as a Raw guy more.
What do you think about Breaker and Baron Corbin? I know they had a tag team on NXT. The rumor was that they were going to call up Baron Corbin and put him with Braun Breaker. Would you? We just talked about tag teams potentially breaking up. Would you call Baron Corbin up and team him with Braun Breaker again on the main roster and have Braun Breaker's main roster start off with a tag team and Baron Corbin and just pick up where they left off on NXT?
I wouldn't be mad about that because Baron Corbin's a good hand.
He has been a good hand. He wasn't a good hand. He has been.
He's the guy that's gonna do his job, do great at the job, especially in that heel role that he does really well. And you know what? Let's do it like real sports. You have your QB1, that's the veteran. You just drafted the rookie that's going to come in, sit behind him to understand what's going on. And then that rookie takes the QB1 spot. We can work something out there. Where later on Braun turns on Baron, he's like, I don't need you anymore. I don't need this veteran stuff anymore. I'm the guy. I don't need you.
There's a built-in story there for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. And the main roster guys, the main roster stars have the opportunity to get drafted to NXT. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they load up NXT because we don't know what day of the week they will be on when they move to CW. Right now they're on Tuesdays. So my whole take is I think that they'll be moving SmackDown to Tuesdays. I think it's going to be Raw Monday on Netflix, SmackDown on USA Network on Tuesdays, and the potential for NXT to be on Fridays to take that old SmackDown spot. Or they could load up NXT and be petty and put them against AEW on Wednesday. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen there, but main roster stars will be able to get drafted to NXT. So it's going to be very interesting to see who they want to keep on the roster and move down to NXT. Speaking of roster moves, we got releases, and I know a lot of people get upset about the releases, and rightfully so. Nobody likes to see anybody lose their job, but during SmackDown last Friday, 5 people were released, and it continued on into yesterday and then again today, with the latest being Cameron Grimes. He's been released from WWE, and he announced this on a news video today he released on Tuesday on X. He introduced himself to everybody as Trevor Lee, and he delivers the news that he's been released from WWE and thanked everybody he worked with. And it's been difficult being off television for a year, but he spent that time honing his skills and learning everything he can from whoever he can. He plans to get back out there soon and show the fans what he can do. Now, he is a former, believe it or not, a former $1 million champion, and he was in a storyline with LA Knight and Ted DiBiase on NXT a couple years back. And he told the heartfelt story of his father, who's no longer with us. He said Lee said that the last thing he told his father was that he got signed to WWE, which is one of the most cherishable things that he holds in his heart today. Wrestling legend Matt Hardy replied to Trevor Lee, and he gave a supportive message to his longtime friend, family friend, is Trevor Lee, to Matt Hardy and his family. Hardy was very close with Lee's father, and Hardy says, Trevor, I love your passion. I love your raw emotion. I've been in your life and known you since you were literally born. I'm immensely proud of you. So is your father. The first release from your dream is hard, but it ushers in a period of personal growth and mandatory change. It's also a great time to show the world exactly who you are. You're one of the most gifted pro wrestlers I've seen. You've got a bright future in this business because it's in your blood. It's in your soul. Wilkins, I'll start with Cameron Grimes, then we'll get into the other releases. I know Grimes had a great run in NXT. He had a great gimmick, entertaining gimmick. He did his thing with LA Knight, Ted DiBiase, the $1 million title, and then he got called up to the main roster. And I remember vividly that Vince hated body hair on professional wrestlers. He always had this thing about, guys like Trevor Lee shaving his body hair, needed to look a little bit more TV ready, and they had him cut his hair. They basically took all his identity away from him. He didn't even look the same when he got called up to the main roster. I think the first time he wrestled on the main roster, he wrestled Baron Corbin and beat him in about 5 seconds. And then after that, he didn't really do much of anything else. This is a situation that I know people are upset about, and I'm not going to particularly blame Trevor Lee here, but the man was never given an opportunity to show what he could do on the main roster, and I feel like he should have been given an opportunity after spending so much time in the developmental system only to waste away in catering and then not get that opportunity. What do you make of this, and what do you feel about him being released and how unfair it is?
So I kind of have like a connection with Trevor because my dad passed away when I was very young. So I'll always have that love for Trevor Lee, aka Cameron Grimes. But I'm happy as fuck for him. And the reason why is because they weren't using you. You weren't given a real chance. You never had the second chance with the Triple Ace regime. It wasn't working. Now, and I've always seen Trevor Lee as that ill, awesome indie guy that can still work in the big leagues. And now and he said it, he soaked up all that knowledge in the E. You about to go to the independent scene and eat like a motherfucker. You about to make a ton of money and have a good time. I am so happy for him. And I know that sounds messed up right now, but he's about to run the indies. Hopefully I could book him because I have Jabba Slam coming up, but that's a different conversation. That's my selfish needs. But I am excited for him because this is going to show the world what he can really do now that he upgraded his skills from being in the E. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is, you look at Trevor Lee and how long he's been wrestling. Believe it or not, guys, he's only 30 years old. 30 years old. I mean, the guy hasn't even hit the beginning stages of his prime yet, and he was already a great wrestler. So the thing with me is, I hate seeing talent wasted. I know WWE, they're the biggest dog in the park, and they could release someone like this and not feel any impact at all. But we see it as, man, what a wasted opportunity. It's like the biggest pro wrestling company in the world had absolutely no creative for someone so great in the ring. But I get where you're coming from. Ali reached out to him and basically said, brother, we are waiting for you where we are. Like you said, he's going to kill it on the indies. He's going to take everything that he learned and everything that he's honed in WWE, and he's going to go do Ali and fucking kill it on the indies. He's going to be in House of Glory. He's going to be over here. He's going to be in GCW. He's going to go back to Impact and win the X Division Championship. He's going to be all over the place. So it's
because he got the skills and he got the ability, and now he honed his character work. I'm going to tell you this. Cameron Grimes, Trevor Lee, if you're listening to this, because you probably are, I want you to pick up the phone and call Matt Cardona. Make that call and say, hey, what you been doing? Because I'm going to tell you this right now. You're about to blow up on that independent scene and make a ton of money. And you might not even go back to the E for a while or even AEW for a while. You're gonna have a great great time in the independent scene with your newfound skills.
I don't know how you guys feel about it, but one of the greatest things, the most satisfying things in this world to me as a man is to have other people doubt you and cast failure on you before you even set out to do something, and you shut everybody up and prove them wrong. Matt Cardona did it. Cardona's fucking phenomenal. He's literally the king of the indies. It's not a gimmick. It's exactly what he is. He's changed the game. And Ali did it. Ali's doing it now. Nick Nemeth is going to be doing it. Matt Riddle's going to be doing it. Now Trevor Lee's going to be doing it. I know you work as a correspondent, Wilkins, with me at House of Glory. You see the talent coming in. You see the shows that they put on. You're in the zone as far as what independent wrestling is doing. I mean, for him, it might be all tears on social media and getting sympathy from everybody, but we know how talented he is. And when he hits the independent scene, he may be hitting the independent scene at, I don't want to say the most healthy it's ever been, but I mean, the indies are fucking booming. And he's going to find work. As soon as his 90 days is up, day 90 and a half, he's got fucking work.
Yo, did you hear that they're getting rid of non-compete?
Yeah. I didn't put it in the notes. I don't know when that's actually going to take
I just wanted to throw it out there. My bad, brother.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention that real quick. Like, things about to change, boy.
I know that could have a huge effect on WWE and everybody going down the ladder. We don't know when that's going to go into. It could take years. Yeah. But if that goes into effect, I mean, someone like Trevor Lee, when it does go into effect, he'd be able to find work tonight and not wait 90 days.
Yeah.
So Trevor Lee is he's gone. He got cut from WWE. If you guys want to go see his message on social media, very heartfelt one. I did retweet it on my end, so make sure you guys go check that out and show him some support. He's going to be fine. The other releases that happened, Wilkins, were Jinder Mahal, Sangha, and Veer. That is Indus Sher, Xia Li, Zion Quinn, and Von Wagner from NXT. Now, some of these names might not be big, and some of these names have been in the developmental system for quite some time. The biggest name, obviously, being Jinder. And if you guys want to go see what Jinder has to say, he was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast today. So make sure you guys go and listen to that. I'm already hearing that independent promotions are already drooling at the fact to book Jinder Mahal after his 90 days are up. I could see him doing big things and proving everybody else wrong. What do you make of the other releases? I don't know if you're familiar with the other names, Zion Quinn. I know everybody's familiar with Xia Li, but does it fit into the same category as, you know, they weren't really given an opportunity? Xia Li was on the main roster for or with WWE for 7 years, and they had stop and start pushes for her, materialized into nothing. Zion Quinn got called up in the draft last year. He made one main roster appearance and was never seen by anybody. What do you make of the rest of the releases?
Outside of Jinder, most of them is like they didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And once again, it's one of those things where they're like, yo, you're here, you're collecting a check, let's just cut you. And I don't ever want that for anybody. But it's one of those things like it wasn't working. Maybe if you go out there, do your thing, we'll call you back. Jinder, I didn't understand that one at all. This Jinder one made no sense to me because like WWE talks about going into that Indian market, getting a piece of that Indian market, and then you get rid of Jinder Mahal. So I personally, I don't understand this at all. But Endeavor's a different machine, B. Endeavor's a different machine. And I'm going to tell people watching this, like, y'all thought Vince was bad? Okay. We're in a different era right now.
Yeah, it's not going to be as bad as it was under Vince McMahon. I think the other releases that do happen are going to be more low key, a little bit more respectful of the talent. Of course. Yeah, the details behind the releases. This is coming from Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select. They confirmed all these names were released by the company. Internally, the releases were cited as budget cuts, which is not a surprise to anybody, though we're not sure what was indicated to the talent. The talent were informed on Friday evening. Like I said, Von Wagner was released yesterday, and then Trevor Lee was released today. Several wrestlers at SmackDown found out about the releases as the news filtered in during the show. Unlike some occasions in the past, there were not memos that were sent out to talent or staff about the announced releases. Some talent still on the roster found out as they became public knowledge. WWE no longer publicly announces releases and haven't for years. So we're not able to confirm that this is all the releases, though other outlets have claimed that it was. Obviously, it was not. We've also not confirmed, says Fightful, the nature of the contact made with the talent outside of that, whether it was by phone or other means on Friday. Jinder was released. Xia Li was released. We had the rest of Inder's share. And in the past, wrestlers would get a call from someone like John Laurinaitis or Mark Carrano, who are both no longer there, and they would be told that they were being cut because of budget cut reasons. Calls were shortened to the point, and then the news of their release would get posted within minutes later on WWE.com and the company's social media accounts. And PW Insider is reporting, and this is where I said it's not going to be like Vince and the Vince era. PW Insider is reporting that the calls to the talent were different this time around because they were less, I guess they were less nasty and more apologetic and respectful to those who were let go. That's a big change from the Vince McMahon administration. So at least they're doing things right. And I think the WWE now, I don't think anybody wants to leave WWE or be removed from WWE now because things are changing for the better. But like you said, and like I said, this is an opportunity to go out and prove yourself. And who's to say Triple H may give a call to an Ali? Hey, bro, I want you back. Or a Matt Cardona. Hey, buddy, it's time for you to come back. Or, you know, Nick Nemeth or whoever, Matt Riddle. I mean, it's not the end. I mean, this is not the closing of the door for WWE forever unless you want it to be. But, you know, to go out there and prove yourself and be better off than what they were using you with and for, I think that's the best thing ever. So I love it.
And like you said, the independent scene is healthy now. Very healthy. It's a ton of great competition out there to showcase people to go up against and showcase your talent. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a great ride. Now, I ask you this question real quick, JD, and before we go to the next thing. Are they doing it like small, like a little bit at a time right now, or is it just like the news is just coming out slower?
I don't know for sure. I honestly think that with the new administration, they use this as a foundation for how they're going to build the next year of WWE. Honestly, it's budget cut reasons, but like you said before, it all has to do with, hey, man, we got nothing for these individuals, so what are we doing? We're wasting resources and in keeping them. We're not using them. We're just letting them sit here while we have to pay them. We might as well just cut them and let them sit home for 90 days, pay them their downside guarantee, and goodbye. So I feel like it's going to come in small spurts like this. I don't think we're going to go back to a day and age where we got like 25 fucking releases on one day and it was like a Black Friday. No, we're not going to get something like that. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more respectful. They're not going to come all at one shot. And I feel like this was used by this administration to really kind of weed out what they don't need and focus on what they are going to do for the next year. I think it was honestly very respectful. And most of these names made sense.
Yeah. It was, like I said, I have no real issues. I think the only person that, like I said before, was Jinder. I was just curious to know, like, because I remember it being like a bunch of names, and then that's it. But like you said, it's more respectful that they're trying to, respect the talent and everything of that nature.
So that is, we don't know who's next, guys. I mean, I'm sure that there will be more releases, but these are the 7 names that have been let go by WWE. Speaking of names, I know there are a bunch of free agents to be coming up. Becky Lynch is one of them. Drew McIntyre is one of them. I've talked about those 2 names specifically on my end. One that re-upped with the company is Finn Balor. Finn Balor posted on X on Monday that he is staying with the company. He trolled everybody. He said, "I would like to take a moment to say thank you to WWE for 10 incredible years. And after much thought and consideration, I have decided that now is the right time to say, I ain't going anywhere." So Fightful had heard on Monday that Balor was staying with WWE and signed a long-term contract extension with the company. Balor's deal was set to be up within the next few months. And Fightful is also told that WWE was looking to sign Balor to a multi-year big money offer. It was expected that he would have a major interest outside of the company, specifically from Tony Khan and AEW. And that AEW is looking to sign big name free agents even after they signed Osprey and Mercedes and Okada. His name was on their list of talent that they were keeping a very close eye on. Wilkins, I mean, this is not the only name I'm going to say this with, because I feel like Drew McIntyre fits into this category as well. I feel like if Balor or McIntyre or any of the names, Becky, Rollins, who are free agents, end up going to AEW, I honestly think that it would probably do more harm than good for them. I feel like Balor right now has been booked better than he's ever have in WWE. McIntyre's doing the best work of his career. I feel like moving to AEW would be a complete downgrade for someone like Finn Balor or Drew McIntyre.
Listen, I'm with you.
Okay.
Finn going to AEW would make absolutely no fucking sense. Why would you leave something that is going well? And you know Triple H loves Finn Balor.
Loves
we
him.
all know that.
Loves him.
Loves him. And you're working, making phenomenal money. I'm pretty sure it was some good cheddar that was paid out to Finn. And leave, especially respectfully, you're not at the peak of your career. You're not coming up. You're kind of still at the peak, but like you got a couple more years before you're done. And his body's beat up. So you want to be at a place where you're comfortable with, a place that you know. Going to AEW is like you got to relearn everything that goes on over there. So it would make absolutely no sense. And Drew, I know he hasn't fully re-signed yet and anything, but I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, he's not going
I think he's staying. And him going to AEW would make absolutely no sense. And I'm going to say this right now. He goes to AEW, he's going to end up like Miro.
It's a good point. Or Andrade, or Malachi, or anybody else that came over from Keith Lee. Anybody else that came over from WWE that everybody said was a game changer. I'm guilty of that too. And then Tony Khan shit the bed creatively with him.
Right now, what WWE got going on, it doesn't make sense for certain top talents to leave. If you're a mid-card person or below, I can see that happening. It might be a better situation over there. You might be able to move up on the roster a little bit faster. But a guy like Drew, hell no, bro. Becky, no. Seth is never leaving.
No. No, he's got no reason to. I mean, his wife is there. I mean, he basically saved WrestleMania. We'll get to that story in a second. I mean, like you said with Balor, Balor's no spring chicken. He looks fucking phenomenal. I wish I looked half as good as Finn Balor did. I mean, he's nearing he's 40 years old. I mean,
40?
He's nearing 40, yeah.
Oh shit.
He looks that good for 40 years old. I'll look it up now just to give you an exact age. But like you said, he's going to go over there and they're going to have him, work a New Japan style at his age. You already said his body's, not as tip-top as it used to be as far as his in-ring career. He's got a good thing here. He's got Judgment Day. He's got, Triple H. He's got the money coming in. Like, what the fuck you need to go over there and break your body for? At this age, just collect the money and take it easy.
Man, bro, like, it doesn't, like, respectfully, not everybody's Bryan Danielson.
42. He's 42 years old.
42? Bro, looks like he's 34.
I know.
Damn. We got to do better, JB.
Jesus Christ, man. Listen, Finn Balor made the right decision. I didn't really expect him to go anywhere. I know the whole lore of going over there to go join his Bullet Club buddies. They're doing their own thing. Balor's got a good thing. Why change that? Same thing with Drew. I would not go over there if I'm him. And a lot of people are like, "Was Drew signing? Is he going to leave?" I mean, they're booking a CM Punk feud that cannot happen yet until Punk gets back, and he's not going to be back until July, August, the earliest. So McIntyre is already going to be in one of the biggest feuds of his entire career. He's probably going to end up winning the World Championship. Clash of the Castle is in his hometown. Like, why are you going anywhere? There's no reason to.
It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't fit. And it's like, why? Like, I don't see it. Like, listen, if he decides to do it, then it is what it is. It's his decision. But on paper, this doesn't look like it would look like a smart move. No,
absolutely. I feel like McIntyre is going to have a major year for WWE. He's not going anywhere. Balor's not going. Drew. Yeah, he's one of my favorite parts of television. I mean, his promo work and his ability to get a one-liner out there is tremendous. I wish I had that type of talent. And he did that last night against Sheamus. And Sheamus was in the news. He returned to TV a little earlier than expected with not such a warm greeting on social media as the degenerates on social media went to quick body shaming Sheamus. Sheamus continues to fire back at the trolls who've gone wild with making memes out of his WWE return. Now, granted, Sheamus returned, and he did not look the same as we last remember him, but he had a neck issue, and he was away for 9 months, and I'm not blaming him at all for taking it a little too easy while he was out. But, I mean, he wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura last night, and he already looked better than he did 1 week ago. And he's got Celtic Warrior workouts. He looks great. He's a great in-ring performer. He's going to be right back where he is in no time. So Sheamus returned, Wilkins, to TV earlier than expected. They wanted him on TV for the draft, and he was thinking that he would come back towards the beginning of the summer. What do you make of Sheamus's return and the way that he was treated on social media upon his return?
So, gonna be honest, I'm not a Sheamus guy. Never been. Never.
I gotta ask. Is there a specific reason for that?
I just never saw the allure. But the respect is there.
Okay.
The respect is there. Like, dude is a monster, but never been a Sheamus dude. Now, him coming back, the boy looked a little thick, not gonna lie. He looked a little thick, but he was chilling out. But let's understand, like, he had a neck injury. You can't do shit when you got a fucking neck injury. And he had to build it up. And he said it himself. He's like, yo, I thought I was going to come and see you a little bit later. But let's be honest. He looks better than majority of the population.
Yeah.
So we can't say nothing because he's in better shape than most people who are talking shit about him. Now, my shoot job is in the fitness industry. So I understand your body fluctuates. His body's fluctuating. And then like he said, he's gonna get busy in the gym, cut the little bit of fat down, and he'll be fine. He didn't look that bad to me, to be honest with you. But when you're used to looking like Superman and now you look like Clark Kent, I see where people were like a little bit taken aback. But the slander was not needed because he's still in better shape than 90% of people that were talking shit about him.
Yeah, I mean the people online. I mean they operate from faceless accounts, and they probably never even they don't even know how to spell the word gym. So I wouldn't really take what they say at face value. Just to give you guys a little context, Sheamus competed in his 1,900th match on Raw. Or for WWE, and he's worked over 2,100 matches in his career, 2,130 to be exact. So you're body shaming someone that wrestled a career 2,130 matches.
Jesus Christ!
Shame on you guys. Shame on you fucking geeks. Come on.
Jesus, 2,100?
Ridiculous.
God.
I mean, the guy's been there for Jesus Christ. How long has he been wrestling? Fucking 20 years? It's got to be 20 years. I don't know, but
I think it's him and Kofi are like neck and neck.
Yeah, Kofi's been there forever.
Him, Kofi, and like R-Truth. They're like the guys who've been there, like Pop and Miz. Those four, I think it is.
So he'll be back to where he needs to be, and he's going to be factoring into that Intercontinental Championship. So Sheamus is going to.
Oh, that's going to be great. That's going to be. I like him as a good hand. I'm just not a fan.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm that way with some people.
Yeah. Just like you guys like him, but I'm good.
Going back to Drew McIntyre, he's also injured. Not serious, but he's got a hyperextended elbow. A little injury update here. McIntyre was injured at WrestleMania. PW Insider is reporting that McIntyre suffered a badly hyperextended elbow, and he's going to be out for a little bit. But he's currently working the UK tour, so he's not going to be wrestling on TV for the time being. The injury believed is to have happened at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins in the opening match of Night 2. And like we just talked about, McIntyre has not signed the new deal. And the whole CM Punk storyline is circulating on social media with some possible callbacks to be had with CM Punk when he left, quote-unquote, the company, and he beat John Cena at Money in the Bank to take the WWE title home. So we could possibly see some throwbacks to that with Drew McIntyre when he gets back from injury and Punk gets back from injury, and we get that colossal match happening in front of everybody. Possibly a Clash of the Castle. We don't know, so we'll see what happens there.
That's going to be fun. That's money right there, boy.
Listen, I mean, and you wonder why they don't want to go to AEW, so there's no sense. Rollins, Wilkins, speaking of Rollins, this is something that I looked at this, and this kind of gave a whole new light on Seth Rollins. Just massive respect for what this guy did during WrestleMania season. Rollins actually underwent surgery after wrestling with a torn meniscus during both nights of WrestleMania. Now, we were to believe that the injury was not going to require surgery and he would be back at 100% and he would be off TV for a couple of months in rehab. But Becky Lynch appeared on a late-night talk show to promote her book. I believe this, I don't know what the name of the show was, RTE's Late Late Show on Friday to promote her book. And during this interview, she revealed that her husband, Seth Rollins, underwent knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus. In January, Rollins was diagnosed with a grade 2 MCL tear and a partially torn meniscus in his left knee. He took time off and was cleared weeks ahead of WrestleMania 40. And since Manny has not appeared on TV, and now we know the reason why. This also explains why The Rock said on social media that Rollins was the MVP of both nights. He broke character to say this because he had to be hurting while still putting on the performances that he did. And at this time, there's no word on how long he's going to be out of action, but it's clear that the time off is certainly needed and deserved for Seth Rollins, and we wish him a speedy and complete recovery here. Wilkins, we saw what he went through on the road to WrestleMania, and we know, because it's very well documented, that WrestleMania drastically changed. With Punk going down, with Lesnar being removed, and the whole pivoting from Roman, Cody to Roman Rock, and then back to Cody and Roman. It was a fucking nightmare, and I know that documentary was supposed to come out, that WWE isn't aired yet, and one of the clips in the trailer was Triple H saying, WrestleMania was 80% done by November, and everything just got turned upside down. And then we get Rollins getting hurt, and the dream match with him and Punk goes right out the window, and we're all scrambling for a WrestleMania match, and they are still going to include Rollins in the WrestleMania plans, but not with Punk. So clearly everybody said, all right, well, the next best thing is Drew McIntyre. How do we get there? Then we get this mega tag team match being booked, and Rollins is wrestling not one but two nights. And we didn't know how serious it was, but something happened at the end of that night 2 match where Rollins came in dressed up as a member of the Shield. He was legitimately Cody's Shield, and he was limping around outside the match or outside the ring during the end of the match that he needed like medical assistance and some help getting up. I'm like, is he selling? Is this a great job by Rollins just selling the effects of what The Rock did to him? And now we find out that this guy went to go get surgery because he was really fucking banged up. And I'm looking at this guy with a whole newfound respect. I'm like, if Rollins, think about this. If Rollins did not wrestle WrestleMania, where the fuck would we be going into Philadelphia? So in my eyes, he wrestled the way he was hurt, and he basically saved WrestleMania because without him, we don't know where the fuck we'd be.
I'm gonna take my Seth Rollins flag out and start waving it because I fucking love this guy. He's always been my favorite Shield person. Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. Thank you, Roman. But my guy is Seth Rollins. Now, what I'm gonna say is this: Seth Rollins, sit the fuck down. Enjoy the fruits of your labor right now.
Yeah,
you'll be fine. Your spot on the roster is fine. Sit the fuck down, heal up, enjoy your child at home, relax. Because you don't need to go anywhere. Just relax right now. You've done more than enough for this fucking company. Sit the fuck down. I'm saying this as a fake friend, as a fake parent. Sit the fuck down. Because like you said, where would this main event on both nights have been without this guy?
I don't even want to think about it.
Bro, who would have been slotted in? What would they have done? That moment that everybody keeps talking about when he comes out dressed as a Shield member, distracts Roman, and Roman hits him with a chair, is a moment that goes down in history because of Seth Rollins.
That's got to be a good feeling to be Seth Rollins, to sit at home knowing that without you, that entire show is like fucking one huge question mark.
I was in the arena that night, and I remember when that Shield music hit, everybody was like, what the fuck is going on? The arena erupted when we saw it with Seth Rollins. And then they play this scene repeatedly of Roman looking at Cody, then looking at Seth, then is grabbing a chair and hitting Seth. And we talk about the phenomenal storytelling. Seth Rollins, sit your ass at home and enjoy what you just did. Because, like The Rock said, you the true MVP.
Yeah. I mean, what you just described, that whole situation with Roman in between Rollins and Cody, and he opted to hit Rollins instead of Cody to win the championship or win the match and retain the championship. All those years of just having that anger fester for Rollins. You're describing that. I said this same exact thing when I did my coverage of WrestleMania. That was my favorite part in the entire match. You know, minus the cameos and all this other shit, I always talk about long-term booking, and I always talk about story and drama, and story is king. To me, that was the best part of the entire match because nobody really thought what he meant. We all thought Rollins said he's going to be Cody's shield, meaning backup. I'll be in your corner. I'll help you kind of ward off the bloodline. But this fucking guy comes out wearing the OG Shield garb, and he's out there wearing the Shield outfit, come out to the Shield music. This motherfucker, man, that's taking story to the next level. I mean, if you hate WWE, how don't you love what they did there?
Yeah, and like you said, the MVP, what would have been if he wasn't involved in this?
I don't know.
Thank you, Seth, man. Seth.
Think about it. What do they do? Do they go Cody Rock night 1 and then Cody Roman night 2? We certainly don't get that WrestleMania night 2 main event the way that it played out. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be the same without Rollins. I mean, if they didn't want to do Cody, do they do Roman and Rock at WrestleMania and then they do Cody and John Cena? You know, or something low key. It would have sucked. Yeah.
We would have all been pissed off. We would all been like, "Yo, what was this?" Like, you got to give it up to him. He was out there with those shitty shoes and having bad knees, because you know his outfits are all crazy.
Yeah.
So imagine him wearing those weird ass shoes that he'd be wearing with bad knees. That's some more MVP shit.
and the funny thing is, he wrestled McIntyre on the very next night, and you wouldn't even think that he's hurt. He wrestled 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute match, but I wasn't even thinking the fucking guy was hurt. He wrestled 10 minutes. He was in and out. McIntyre won the championship. It didn't even cross my mind that he might have been hurt. So, I mean, just goes to show you how fucking bad he wanted this and how important this show was to him, man. My respect for Seth Rollins went through the roof. I don't give a shit how much hate he gets. You're a complete fucking idiot if you disrespect Seth Rollins after what he did here.
He's that guy, man. He's that guy. I always loved Seth. I thought he was the complete package. I love him. I love the arrogance because he loves this business so much.
Speaking of WrestleMania, WWE's planning to make a small change to WrestleMania weekend going forward, as Nick Khan does not want to have any more WrestleManias on the East Coast. I can see why. I don't know where. Did you go to 2 nights? Did you go to both nights?
No, I went to the second night. A lot of people that I know were at the first night, though.
Jesus Christ! I was in the parking lot for a tailgate on night 1, man. I brought nothing but a hoodie, and I regret the decision that I made as soon as I walked out the door. I'm like, this is going to be a bad day. But WrestleMania weekend, there's going to be a small change, not only because of the weather on the East Coast, but while speaking on The Observer, Dave Meltzer recapped Nick Khan's appearance at the World Congress of Sports Convention this past Wednesday. Khan noted that due to WrestleMania 40 going up against the Final Four for both men and women's college basketball, the tournaments, they will be moving around the dates for future WrestleMania to avoid the ratings competition. I didn't really think that was going to be a problem for WWE and WrestleMania, but apparently Nick Khan wants to just have WrestleMania all to itself. This year's tournaments drew big ratings, obviously. So Meltzer says, so he talked about WrestleMania next year and basically that they did not announce WrestleMania for 41 because they don't have a finalized location. Now, it's either Minneapolis or Vegas. Or if you're Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, he gave it away on a fucking podcast the other day and said it was Las Vegas. I would love Vegas because I need an excuse to go back out there, but who knows? He said he was talking about changing the weekend He just doesn't want to go against the Final Four anymore because Saturday went against the Final Four, and then the go-home show to Raw after Mania went head-to-head with the finals. And even though the show did fantastic numbers, it would have done even better had it not gone against the finals. So it looks like it's probably going to be moved up a week, or maybe they do it in May, which, I mean, would be a new take on WrestleMania as far as I'm concerned, because it's either late March or early April. Moving it in May would give Nick Khan all the reason to do it on the East Coast, because May weather in New York City, New Jersey, the tri-state area, New Jersey, Philadelphia is a lot better than fucking April. But what do you make of this, Wilkins? How do you feel about WrestleMania not being on the East Coast and not going up against the Final Four? I know you're a basketball guy. How do you feel about this potential change?
So I like it, because one thing that nobody really notices is that, remember Royal Rumble never goes up against the Super Bowl.
True.
They always keep it in. It's either like Pro Bowl weekend or the week after, or the week before, like right before. So I understand his point of view. Like, yo, let's get all the ratings that we can, and because let's say it goes the week after Final Four is all done, said and done. To be honest, there's nothing else going on in sports. Really, like it might be the start of the play-in for the NBA. Baseball's kind of in the beginning of the season, so you're really getting all the ratings as much as possible. Now, moving into another city outside the East Coast, I'm an East Coast guy, if anybody doesn't know, kind of hurts, but I've always said this: WrestleMania needs to be in sexy cities. Cities where you go, ooh, I'm gonna go there. Like Vegas, sexy. You get someplace in LA, sexy. Minneapolis, not sexy. Cleveland, not sexy. Philadelphia, kind of sexy, but not sexy.
This is what I said about SummerSlam. This is what I said about SummerSlam being in Cleveland. I'm like, who the fuck wants to go to Cleveland in August? Like, bro, give me some fucking palm trees, man.
Yeah, so you want he's looking at the overall picture of the situation, like, because right now WrestleMania is what every city wants, because it brings a shit ton of money. If anybody has ever been at a city for WrestleMania, it is crazy. So I'll give an example. I have a friend that last year in LA works at a hotel in LA. They had meetings about WrestleMania. Like, oh, WWE's coming to town. We have to have certain things done a certain type of way because the amount of business they're going to have. So right now, they get to pick whatever city they want to. So why not pick a sexy city?
Listen,
like I said, there's nothing else going on when it's WrestleMania season for the most part, outside the Final Four.
I agree with you. Listen, Nick Khan is very sports centric. He has made the appropriate changes to WWE to move away from the norm that Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn basically set forth on WWE television. I love how sports like the product is right now. The different camera angles, the look through Gorilla, the way that the entrances are done. I love the fact that he is doing these shows. Like, I know the draft is actually coinciding with the NFL draft, and it's happening on the same weekend. So it's like, he's very in tune with that, and I really do appreciate that. I did not appreciate Nick Khan early in his WWE tenure, and I'm starting to appreciate him a little bit more now and the direction he's taking the company. Not only with WrestleMania, Wilkins, but with the pay-per-views as well. You see what WWE is doing with the pay-per-views. All the major shows are going to be bid on by major cities across the United States, and we're going to have the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and SummerSlam and Survivor Series here located in the United States, major arenas. And
they're bidding on all the pay-per-views.
All the paper. That's exactly where he wants to go. Yeah.
I think the big four. You said, okay. Wow. I didn't know.
There was an article for the Royal Rumble, and if I could pull it up here, the Royal Rumble was in Tampa, and the amount of money the Royal Rumble made the city of Tampa was fucking unlike anything I've ever seen. Astronomical numbers. $47 million in overall economic impact, with $28 million of that coming from direct spending. A new economic impact study revealed for the Royal Rumble in Tampa. There was also $3 million worth of tax dollars generated by the Royal Rumble in Tampa. So you could see why the WWE is charging premium price to these cities for them to go into these cities with their major events. And like I said, yeah, and like I said, all those major shows are going to be bid on here in the United States as well as overseas. I know Puerto Rico bid over $2 million for Backlash last year, and all these other major shows, they're happening internationally. So we are now living in the Nick Khan era where Vince was afraid to do the international PLEs, and he was afraid of the time zones, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and now this is the norm here. What do you feel about that? Because that's going to be the new norm going forward with WWE having those major shows here, the Big Four, Big Five, and then all the other shows happening across the pond or in Australia, overseas.
Well, the world is different, man. Like, we're in a new place where everybody's connected. Because of social media, because of the internet, everything's connected. And, Vince ushered this new era of WWE at one time, but let's be real, he was behind the times for many things. But the best thing he ever did was hire Nick Khan, because he has his finger on the pulse, Nick Khan. And he understands, in order for WWE to become a bigger juggernaut in professional wrestling, you got to go overseas. And we've seen that with other sports. Like baseball had one of their opening games in Japan. Yeah. Korea. My apologies. We've seen one of the first games. I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. Shout out to the Eagles. They're going to be playing in fucking Brazil, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's the wave that's going on. Expansion overseas. It has to be done in order for the company to grow.
Wasn't there an NFL game last season that took place in Europe or the United Kingdom?
Yep. I think it was more than one, actually, if I remember correctly.
And it's great for those crowds because they're so. I mean, they don't get anything like that ever. And you go to a United Kingdom, you go into Wembley like AEW that hasn't seen a fucking event since 1992, SummerSlam, and then you're like, oh shit, I gotta go to this. It's like you don't get me out of the fucking house. I went to fucking London for All In. It's like it's crazy.
It makes sense financially for everybody, and we're talking about money, but we're also talking about the brand as well.
Yeah.
If WWE keeps talking about expanding to like Japan, Europe, and doing other things there, you gotta get out your comfort zone, go across season, and get busy.
Now, do you feel like WWE? I know John Cena was at Money in the Bank last year and made a rah-rah speech about WrestleMania coming to London. Do you personally feel that Nick Khan is eventually going to take WrestleMania to the United Kingdom? Do you see that happening?
In 5 years, maybe.
Okay.
In 5 years, and I'll be there.
I'll be there too.
Because the money will be stupid, man. The money's going to be ridiculous. Because at the end of the day, Nick Khan is about the bag.
Yeah.
He's about the bag. He's about getting the money. And from what I'm hearing, the articles I've read, the stuff I've listened to, he's a monster. Like, he is that kind of person that's like, oh, I'm going to get this, and I'm gonna make sure it expands. Like, there's a story that's been going around that I read about him where he was broke going into law school. He went on Wheel of Fortune to get money to pay for law school.
I saw that clip too, yeah.
So
Great.
you got a hustler that's the head of WWE right now.
I love it. I think it's great. And I feel like he realized that without Vince McMahon, the company will probably thrive more than if Vince was there. So I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to Mr. Nick Khan. So I see good things happening with that. I'm very excited about what they've done with pay-per-view. I think they've really upped their pay-per-view game or their PLE game, and I'm excited to see all the premium live events go overseas because the energy there is just different than when it's here, and it's a nice change of pace too. And as a content creator, I got to be honest with you, sitting here at 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and going live till like 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't mind it. But I would much rather have that offset by a nice 2 p.m. show. You go live at 5. I'm done by 7:30, and then I go out for a couple of drinks. So, You know,
that makes perfect sense. I guess you 100%.
Yeah, it works out pretty good. So we're all feeling the effects of that. NXT. There's a small change to NXT Battleground. I want to see what happens here with this one, and I'm very excited and interested to see how they take this show into Vegas. NXT Battleground will take over the UFC Apex for their June Premium Live event. This is on Sunday, June 9th. This event is notable as the first WWE event to be held in the UFC Apex, which is a 130,000 square foot facility. Basically, it's UFC's Performance Center, which regularly hosts UFC Fight Night events. We are always exploring new frontiers to showcase NXT talent, and we are excited to bring Battleground to this world-class event and production facility in partnership with UFC, said Shawn Michaels. With this move, WWE changed up their previous Battleground plans from Savannah, Georgia to Las Vegas and UFC Apex. UFC Apex is located in Nevada, Enterprise, Nevada to be exact, and owned by UFC, which is obviously a part of TKO Group Holdings and Endeavor. This facility is the hub for UFC live events and productions, and now will host this show. Wilkins, what do you make of this? Are you familiar with anything UFC related? This facility. The one thing that I will say about this is NXT in a traditional arena doesn't really interest me, because I honestly think the brand is not really set for that. It's not like Black and Gold was. Honestly, I think it's several steps down from Black and Gold, and I don't know why they're running 15, 16,000 seat venues. To me, a facility that holds 1,000 people, 1,100 people, that's what NXT. That's what interests me in NXT in the beginning, like the intimate setting, the energy, the noise 1,100 people can make in a small setting. Could rival fucking 10,000 people in an arena. I think this is going to be a good look for WWE. What do you make of this move here?
I think it's a cost-saving move, to be honest. I think it's one of those things where, okay, let's use our full resources to maximize what we have. I do think NXT can do like 8K, 10K.
Yeah.
I saw it when I was at Mania Week, but that could have been because it's Mania Week.
Yes.
But I think it's a cost-cutting move. It's why travel all the way over here? We have to pay for this, and that, where we have a place that we can just borderline use for free and make money off of it. It's
probably the exact reason why they're doing it. Plus, you get all the perks, like I said, of it being intimate and small, and in Vegas. I mean, who doesn't like going to Vegas? So I love it. I'm more interested in the show now than I was then. So that is a nice change of pace for the NXT brand, and I really wish that they would actually go out and take the show on the road to these small, different places like that and get out of the Performance Center. I think one of the things that hinders me from watching NXT weekly, I do find it to be a little cheesy. I also find it to be the same. It doesn't have the same look and feel that Full Sail had. There was just something special about Full Sail, and I visited Full Sail a couple of times. I was big into Full Sail. There's just something about the Performance Center, the lighting, the way the crowd is, the energy there. It's just not. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't know why.
No, it makes sense. I see where you're coming from. I think when this TV deal with CW kind of goes into full effect, I think we might see a change in that, because I think they have to step it up because they're going to be on broadcast television. Well, I hope that they do, at least. And I'm a fan of NXT. This current version, because it kind of gives me the both of like the cheesy characters, but there's some great wrestling at the same time and some cool characters as well.
Yeah.
But the production could be better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I want to start watching a little bit more NXT. I do, and maybe post-draft I will do that, but they haven't really hooked me in yet. Though I love Carmelo. I think Ilya's great. Trick Williams is fucking fantastic. I mean, he's got charisma for days. He may end up winning the championship. He may be the new world champion by this point. I have no idea. The ladies, the women's division down there, big fan of Roxanne, Nikita Lyons, Sol Ruka. I mean, they got the talent down there. It's just they got to hook me. I don't know what it is that is missing on my end, but hopefully that changes with the CW for sure. I want to switch gears to SmackDown. There's a couple of news and notes here, and this storyline that's taking over WWE and will take over WWE for the entire year is this new Bloodline 2.0. I'm very excited to see where this is going. Reigns is obviously off television. Roman Reigns held the championship for as long as he did, and it was a reign that never will be duplicated. He's the greatest champion of our generation. But now Solo Sikoa is the tribal chief. Obviously not by the hand of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns at one point or another said that this will be his eventually, but I don't think Roman Reigns gave him that spot right now. I do think that we are seeing a master plan facilitated by The Rock. But Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga are in the new bloodline, and we are adding a new member because as of this Friday, it is heavily rumored that Jacob Fatu is joining the bloodline, and he will be in WWE as of this week or within the next week. I thought it was going to be Backlash. We may get that sped up. Now, he's been with MLW. I believe he's the longest reigning MLW champion of all time. He's wrestled for House of Glory. You know, I know, everybody that's worked in House of Glory has seen him work that the company, the 3 times that he has. He's fucking phenomenal. I use game changer. This guy is going to bring something to the table that a lot of people don't really expect. And a man his size, the way he moves and the way he flies around the ring, you're going to have a new favorite Samoan. I'm telling you right now. PW Insider's reporting the expectation is that Fatu will debut within the next week. And the belief is that he will be on TV as early as the draft on Friday Night SmackDown. First, I will ask, how much are you excited about Jacob Fatu coming into WWE? And do you look at this signing? Out of all the signings we've seen, both in AEW and WWE, where do you rank this one as far as importance?
Top 5 importance. Also, this is pivotal for the Bloodline storyline. I know everybody's super excited about it, what they've been doing, what's going on, this real like killer type of thing. I'm cool with it. I hope it doesn't turn into the NWO storyline that we later on got towards the end of the NWO storyline, especially when it became the Wolfpack and everything. I'm a little scared about that, where it kind of goes super stale and it's like 100 people in there. I'm excited for it because I've seen Jacob Fatu live and in color and just crushing it. Him on a bad day is better than like 60% of like most wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope they maneuver this the right way. And I hope they really give them, I like video packages. I'm still waiting for Tama Tonga's video package. So I want a real introduction. I want to be surprised, but we live in an era where surprises are out the window when it comes to wrestling, especially guys like us who do content creating. We know all the news. But this has to be done right to take this bloodline storyline to the next level. You know what I mean?
How do you make it right? Because I've talked about this. I've kind of mapped it out in my head. I talked about it the last couple of weeks on my end. How do you make this right with Jacob Fatu, and how do you make it stand out to where it doesn't kind of jump the shark there as far as the Wolfpack vibe is concerned? I
think we need him not do anything. Him show up, but not show up, and give that bit of mystery, like because. The people who don't know about him outside of the WWE bubble, let's build up anticipation. Let's have Solo talk about there's somebody else coming. Let's build that up. Who is coming? Let's have this anticipation because it's a major signing. So let's have people wonder who's coming. Is it Jacob? Could it be somebody else? You know what I mean? Like, let's have some anticipation being built up. Then he comes out. Maybe we have Roman come out for one time later on in a week or two, and he attacks Roman. Make it a bigger deal.
I agree with you there. I don't know, like if he's on SmackDown, I don't know where he fits in to the whole SmackDown vibe and the draft. This is why I said, I mean, you could mysteriously present him as, oh my, who's that? Like, we know who it is. When we see him on TV, we'll know who it is. But who's that? Like, play it off as like, oh man, this is the newest family member. But what's his name? What is he doing here? What is his reason for being here? I said with Jey Uso challenging Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship, I don't know where Jey Uso is going to land in the draft, but Jey Uso has a tendency of getting screwed over by his family members. Jimmy fucked him over with the tag team titles when he was champions with Cody, Gunther, and obviously Roman as well. So he's wrestled for 3 major championships, and the family's fucked him over. So now I feel like Jacob Fatu, him showing up in France at Backlash to fuck over Jey Uso for the World's Heavyweight Championship just kind of sounds poetic to me. And then this would be the catalyst for Jimmy and Jey to, rectify their problems, get back on the same page because Solo's running amok here with the new bloodline in the family. Then this brings Roman back, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but it'll bring Roman back, and Roman has to convince and try to talk to Jimmy and Jey, who he's lost trust in. Hey, we got to all band together. We all got to band together. This is blood. This is family. So we're going to get an OG bloodline versus the new bloodline, and who knows if there's going to be any more members added to that. But the catalyst here, the reason why all this is happening, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, is because The Rock is taking control over everything because Roman lost. And The Rock is the final boss, and he's already made eye contact with Cody in the World Championship. So imagine the new bloodline with Rock, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa against Roman, Jey, Jimmy, and then we get the honorary Sami Zayn or whoever else you want to fit in there. Maybe it's another family. Maybe it's Lance or Zilla Fatu. Who knows? But it's going to be family versus family.
And that's War Games.
That is War. That is War Games. I mean, it's very difficult for me to believe Rock is going to be in a War Games match. But
yeah, I don't see it happening, to be honest.
I mean, yes, realistically, it should be a War Games. Yeah.
Yeah, but Rock's too pretty for that.
I mean, he was complaining that he was fucking sore after his match. I mean, he did wrestle 45 minutes, but he's not young anymore. He's not some spring chicken, but
he's like close to 50 now, isn't he?
I mean, listen, the way he wrestled on night one, he did everything perfect. I have no complaints about what he did. Yeah. If he's wrestling at this point and he's like that from this point on, we are lucky to be living in a day and age in WWE where Rock is giving us those type of performances.
Yeah. Like it's listen, I'll take it for what it is.
Yeah. Shifting gears to the other company, AEW. I know they had a pay-per-view on Sunday. Dynasty. It is a new pay-per-view concept, and it was a very, very good show. They, to me, were ice cold coming in, but this is a vicious cycle with AEW. They do things right, they do things wrong, and then when they get to pay-per-view, they blow it out of the water. They hit it out of the park. It's a grand slam. Tony Khan, I coined him Mr. Pay-Per-View. He does nothing wrong on pay-per-view. I can count on probably one finger, that AEW's had one bad pay-per-view, which was probably World's End in December last year. But from what you saw, Wilkins, on Dynasty Sunday night, what'd you think of the show, and what were your biggest takeaways? We'll start with that.
The show was good. It's always too long for me because I'm an old man. I like to go to sleep early. That's just what it is for me. But this is what I got from the show. These are your main characters. I like it. Now, let's forget the Punk situation. Let's forget all of that. Let's start this new chapter of AEW on a good note. Because we saw good character work at the press conference during the show. We saw Swerve win a title. We saw Willow win a title. We saw Mercedes Moné come in there. We saw things being set up for the future. Now let's forget the past and let's look towards the future. Forget everything. We got some good shit coming. So that's what I took away from it. Like, we got some good stuff on the plate right now.
Yeah, we do. Realistically, we do have a lot of good shit coming. And I feel with what they did with the Jack Perry, I mean, I'm sure we'll touch on it. The Jack Perry CM Punk situation, I feel like it set them back several steps after the first couple of shows in March leading up to Big Business. I mean, AEW produced those 3 shows in March coming out of Revolution, probably some of the best television that they produced. I'm like, this is the company. This is the company that needs to be, on the right track. This is the shows that they need to produce. These shows are the foundation of how Dynamite should be on a weekly basis. And then they hear CM Punk and Ariel Helwani, and then things go to shit. Tony Khan gets petty, and he wants to get back at Punk, and it has nothing to do with what's happening on television. It's like, here you go, falling right back into the fucking pitfalls of what, everybody hates about the company. So Dynasty happened on Sunday, and we'll start with the top, Swerve. Swerve wins the World Championship, and I know how important that title win was to him and to AEW. He legitimately made history, and I thought what he did with Joe was a great match. I thought Joe was an admirable champion. He was the right guy coming out of World's End. In the light of Adam Cole being hurt and MJF being hurt, Samoa Joe legitimized what the AEW Championship should be moving forward, and he stepped up as a company guy and said, you know what, I'll take the ball until Swerve is ready. And that, to me, you owe Joe a lot of credit and a lot of respect. As far as Swerve goes, Wilkins, where do you see Swerve going from here? Because I know his story's been very well documented. Coming from WWE, Isaiah Swerve Scott, and him being in NXT, Triple H didn't believing in him, and then Hit Row is formed, and then Hit Row gets called up to the main roster, and then they get terminated 5 weeks after they get called up from NXT, and then he joins AEW, and he's just floundering in the mid-card, and it's like, all right, Tony, what are you doing? You got a winner here. How long is it going to take? Took a little bit, but then we got the wheels moving, and that feud with Page, Adam Page, just took him to heights that I don't think he's ever seen, and now he's the world champion. What do you make of the championship? How important is this for AEW, and where do you see Swerve going from here?
Couple things. He is the first black champion for AEW, so that's history in itself. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't fuck with Swerve like that, but I think he's very talented. That's number one. Number two, this is good for AEW. They need some shakeup of their top people there. Number three, I want to give it up to Will Washington, who got hired by AEW, and what he did of adding Prince Nana to that whole Swerve world and getting him super over. This is beautiful. This is what AEW needs. We need legitimate top guys there that, like you said, when we having a bunch of injuries, you put somebody else in that slot that can hold things down. I love it. I think this is fucking amazing. And this is what this company needs right now. Looking towards the future, looking at stars that they have developed to hold the company down. And that's all I want to see with AEW. Develop some superstars so you can look into the future.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot. I think Swerve is as talented as they come. I don't know how the company will look 3 months from now with him as champion. I don't know. I know
they're giving it to Osprey, though.
That's what everybody tends to believe at Wembley, yes. But I will put you on the spot because it has been said, and I've seen it on social media since Sunday. Nana has been an incredibly important part of Swerve's act. Do you think, without Nana, that Swerve is where he is today as the world champion?
Absolutely not.
Elaborate. Elaborate. Why is that?
And the reason why I say that is because he was the missing piece to getting him super over. That song that Swerve has, nobody give a fuck about that shit. Until Nana started shaking it up, getting the dance going. Until Nana got involved doing the stuff on the outside of the ring, like doing cool things, like getting the crowd involved, like making us care. Swerve wasn't, I'm not taking anything away from Swerve's in-ring ability. But let's think about it. When you a top guy in professional wrestling, you need that extra That's what Nana gave him. And that's why he's so over now. He did. Nana gave him that extra
Yeah.
And there's nothing against Swerve. There's nothing against Swerve, but we gotta be truthful. And Nana did his job, what he's supposed to do as a manager.
Nana is absolutely priceless to Swerve Strickland. I absolutely agree, and I wanted to ask that question because a lot of people are afraid to really venture off into that line of questioning because they feel like it's a disrespectful knock on Swerve. It's not, no. And a lot of people tend to think like what Swerve was doing was going to net him the world championship, and his feud with Page was going to net him the world championship. But like you said, and I totally agree, and I don't think a lot of people see it that way. He needed that oomph. And that oomph definitely came from Prince Nana. Absolutely.
So before you move on, let's look at the other company real quick. Roman Reigns. When Roman came back and we saw him sitting on the couch talking to Adam Pearce, and then the camera panned to Paul Heyman. What happened?
We saw Paul Heyman, and a magical partnership was born.
Exactly. And does it take anything away from Roman?
No.
But we understand what Paulie brings to the table. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
I mean, listen, you're 100% correct. I mean, you could go back to when we were kids watching old school WWF in the fucking 80s and 90s. I mean, you could say that about any of the legendary managers that were across WWE. Where would the Undertaker be without Paul Bearer? Nowhere.
Exactly.
Where would, I mean, I love Sensational Sherry. Look at what she did for Shawn Michaels early in his fucking heel turn when he turned on Marty Jannetty. I mean, where would Michaels be? You know, that set the tone there. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, I know I'm forgetting a ton, but yeah, your point is 100% valid. Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it, because at the same time, let's give Nana his flowers.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Swerve is going to do great things with that championship. I just hope it doesn't fall into a situation where they made him the champion now, and I'm glad that they did, because there was no better time. I mean, AEW has a tendency to just have these moments bypass them, and they don't strike while the iron is hot. They struck while he's at his hottest. So I appreciate that. But now we move on into Double or Nothing, and then we go into Forbidden Door, and then we go to Wembley. Where do you see Swerve going into Wembley? I know everybody says Osprey. Does he even hold the championship till that point? I know everybody's saying Osprey's going to win the championship, and that's going to be the match at Wembley. Fine. If that's going to be your main event, sign me up. But do you see Swerve holding the championship longer than that? Because I feel like 3 months, people are going to be in an uproar if it's only for a 3-month reign.
People will be in an uproar, and Tony doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
They put the title on what is her name? Not Paige, but
Saraya.
Saraya. They put a title on Saraya. You saw that.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, and it was not needed. So you think he's not going to put it on Billy Goat? You think that's not going to happen?
Yeah, but is Billy Goat ready for that right now? I mean, there's so many other things that he could do before then. Do we need to immediately put the title on him?
No, but he's going to do it.
See, that's going to be a mistake, because I said that same thing about Saraya. I'm like, why are we doing this because she's from London? Why? Like, it was just a complete waste of time. Why are we going to crown Osprey because he's from that part of the world? Why? It doesn't make sense. To me, there's a structure to everything. It's like figuring out a puzzle. You know, the AEW Championship is like figuring out a puzzle. Swerve is the champion right now. I could see Adam Cole, now that he's walking, say, you know what? I want the World Championship. This fucking guy Wardlow fucked everything up. Let's go after the World Championship. I'll show you how it's done. Swerve and Cole. Sign me up for Double or Nothing. And then we get MJF coming back. Cole won't win the championship. Then we move on to Forbidden Door. Swerve can, wrestle somebody from Japan, whoever that may be. So be it. And then we move on to London. I could see MJF. I mean, they teased something before MJF went out with injury. I could see MJF getting back the World Championship. I mean, I don't think MJF was going to lose the championship. Honestly, MJF losing the championship came for 2 reasons. One, I think it was because they wanted to pay off the Devil storyline, and 2, he was hurt. And I don't know how long he would be able to defend the championship. So I honestly think a lot of that had to do with his injury, but I don't really think that the company was ready to move on from MJF. So I wouldn't mind him and Swerve, being that they teased it at All In. What do you think about that?
They needed to move away from MJF. By the way.
I mean, yeah, at the same time, the show hasn't been the same without him.
It hasn't been the same without him, and it wasn't that great with him.
Oh, you're one of the guys who did not appreciate his babyface run, then.
I wouldn't say I didn't appreciate it.
You didn't like it. It was not MJF.
So who was it then?
I'm saying it's not the MJF that you want or that you prefer.
Exactly. Who was it? It was MJF there, not doing any. He wasn't bringing it in. He wasn't cashing the checks that we needed for AEW, and that's just the honest truth. But I will give him the fact that he tried. I will give him the fact that he put his body on the line for us, for our entertainment. Shout outs to you for that. Get some rest, come back, and kill motherfuckers the way that you're supposed to be doing it. But, speaking of Swerve, Swerve is losing it to Billy Goat. That's going to happen.
All right. I mean, I don't think. Listen, I think like you said, Tony's going to make that decision. I mean, anything I say, anything you say, anything anybody says is not going to sway his decision. But I think that's way too soon. Honestly, I think Osprey's got so much more left to do before we even start talking about that. And I think there's a certain order of the way things need to be, and I don't think he fits into that yet. But we'll see. I hope Swerve can make the best of it because I know he's been wanting this for a very long time. He proved a lot of people wrong. He came from where he came from and basically gave a big middle finger to WWE. I love it, but I hope it's more than just what people are predicting for Swerve. Speaking of Billy Goat, I know Osprey and Danielson and the match that was created a shitstorm on social media for one reason or another. But at the end of the night, we got a pro wrestling match that I don't think will ever be forgotten. It is one of the greatest matches that I've personally ever witnessed. I know my best friend watched it 3 different times already, and I texted him today. I'm like, man, you really love that match. I talked to you yesterday to set up for the show. You said you were going to go watch it for a second time. Did it get better the second time after watching it the initial time live with Osprey and Danielson?
Yes. I had a viewing party. I left early because I wanted to be home. Because, like I told you, I'm an old man. I need to go to sleep. But I woke up to watch that match. Took like 15-minute nap, woke up to watch the match. I was like, I'm going to watch this. I got to watch it live. I got to see the reaction live. Fucking great. Now, second time around, you miss the nuances that they do in the matches because Bryan is amazing when it comes to those nuances. Those little itty-bitty things, setting things up, and that's what I wanted to look at the second time around. And fucking Billy Goat is a Dragon Ball Z character, and he just does some wild fucking shit the entire match, and Bryan Danielson brings him back to life and makes it all make fucking sense. And I fucking loved it both times I watched it because it was fucking amazing. That's all I gotta say. There was nothing wrong with that match.
Meltzer and Alvarez said it was the greatest match on American soil of all time. Now, I think that's a pretty hefty fucking comment to project onto social media in today's day and age. Everybody's gonna fucking be up in arms. How could they say that? It's not. And then everybody's got a different opinion. But, I mean, nothing can be refuted here. It was a match for the ages that I said was generational. It will be generational. People will be looking back at this as a reason as to why they became a professional wrestler. Fucking students are going to be watching this match to dissect this match, to see what they shouldn't do and what they should do in a pro wrestling match. Osprey and his energy is just out of this world. There's no one like Will Ospreay. There's not anybody in this industry that can do what Will Ospreay does at the energy he does it. He's fucking phenomenal. And Bryan Danielson, he may be considered the greatest pro wrestler ever. And if he's not, he's definitely in the top 3. But as far as the match is concerned, Wilkins, I know a lot of people were making comparisons. How could you say it was a great match? There was no story. I know my partner Jesse on Wednesdays, he loved the match, and he made a very good point. A lot of people were claiming that this was the match of the decade, match of the century, and people are already coining it match of the year. And I asked Jesse, out of a Meltzer star rating per se, a Jesse star rating, what would you give it? I gave it a 5 stars just based off what we've seen in the ring. He was controversial and said, you know what, I'm going to give it 4 3/4 stars. And I'm taking a quarter of a star off because of the story and the lack of story that went into the match. How important was the story going into the match? Or in this case, did it even matter because of how great the match ended up being? What was your takeaway from that?
So when you think about it, is Jesse wrong? No. There was no story going. And I love a good story. That's why we enjoyed WrestleMania. We enjoyed what it was. We loved that. There was story being told. But sometimes, bruh, you go into a boxing match, it's 2 monsters going up against each other, and you like the fact they were fucking each other up. And that's what it was. 2 gladiators going up against each other and fucking each other up. And it was good. That's all I cared for. That's what it was, a match. That's why we have to look at it in that lens, that it was a match. That was it.
And I agree with that. And it's like, how rare of a situation is that we get treated to that? Imagine how lucky we are. Bryan is, I don't think Bryan is, it's unfair of me to say that Bryan is not in his prime because he wrestles every fucking match like he's in his prime. I don't think I'm ever going to take that away from him at all. No matter how old he is, he's going to be wrestling the same way he is now, no matter how old he is now, or if he's fucking 50. But Osprey and Bryan, how lucky are we to get this match? I agree with you. When we may end up getting a second match out of this, but how lucky are we that we got these two guys in the prime of their life to give us this type of match? I mean, something like this doesn't come around that often, and Tony Khan fortunately gave it to us. Say again?
I don't want a second match.
With the story that happened at the end of the match, you don't think we're getting a second match?
I don't want one. We will get one, but I don't want one.
Well, let me ask you this. Maybe that's where the story comes in after what happened with the Tiger Driver on Bryan and him convulsing in the ring. Maybe that leads to an actual match with a story.
Yes, but sometimes I don't need the round two, man. Like,
the sequel always doesn't end up being better than the original, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Like I said, I love Godfather 1. I didn't like Godfather 2 that much.
Here's a good wrestling example. Everybody's like, yo, man, JD, I think The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels Part 2 was better than Part 1 of WrestleMania. No fucking way. What are you talking about? I would take WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker Part 1 any day of the week over Part 2. And I always said, I don't even know why they went with another match. I get that Shawn Michaels put his career on the line, but man, I did not like that match better than the first one. I feel like that would maybe be the case here, or maybe not. I mean, these are two different performers than Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Will it be good? Yes. But sometimes leave me hanging. Leave me wanting more and not getting more. That's just for me, because what I saw, I was like, yo, this is amazing, man. Yeah. This was I wish I saw it live, actually. I kind of wish I was there live to see that. And I was, like I told you, I took a nap so I could make sure I was up for this match.
Yeah, this was something special. Is it the match of the year? To me, it is. A lot of people are going to have a very different take on what the best match of the year is. You know, I think we could all come to a common understanding that Will Ospreay will probably be in the match of the year, no matter who it's against. Whether it's Bryan, Takeshita, Omega, Okada, if it's Swerve, he's going to be there because his year is just going to be tremendous. But yeah, the best match in the last 10 years, I could probably say, is a realistic gauge. You know, match of the century, match of the decade. No?
My match, Kenny versus Danielson.
I can't hate that. I can't hate that. That to me is probably the greatest AEW moment of all time.
I saw that shit live, bro.
Yeah.
I remember I was in the arena. I ain't have the best seats, but I was there and I was locked in. My friend was starting to talk. I was like, shut up. Match going on.
Bro, the bell rang and that 20,000 people started chanting, holy shit. And then when you're watching it live I don't know if you went back and watched it live on television, but you see Kenny Omega, who was a heel at the time, trying to fucking hold back a smile just based off the reaction of the crowd, and they didn't even lock up yet. That was a magical fucking moment.
And that's why I feel like that's why it's for me personally, is mine in the past decade.
Again, I can't hate that. I don't think anybody else is going to hate on that either. But it's definitely a topic of discussion. Seen some people comparing this to Roman and Cody. I mean, stop. No, that was things. Story. That was just drama. A movie coming out and playing out on pro wrestling television. The Rock. You can't compare the two. Was Roman and Cody the better story? Yes, because this match didn't have a story. Was Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson the better wrestling match? I mean, It depends on what your version of pro wrestling is. Cody and Roman didn't have a bad match. I thought it was a great match. But if you want pure pro wrestling, I'm going to go Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. So there's no comparing. I don't know why we're comparing. It's pro wrestling. We're here because we love pro wrestling, and we got these two great matches happening this month. Like, what else can you ask for? Stop. Seriously. Now, I want to move on to Willow. Willow Nightingale won the TBS Championship. She beat Julia Hart. Mercedes came out. I made a big deal about this on my end. I am happy for Willow, but I feel like Willow is going to be a transitional champion. We talk about transitional champions, Swerve or whoever else we talked about tonight. Willow, I feel like, won the belt only to drop it to Mercedes at Double or Nothing. Now, the rumor is Mercedes is not cleared per Tony Khan. Yet he debuted her in the middle of March at Big Business, and she hasn't wrestled one single match. Calls out Willow or Julia, whoever the TBS champion is, and is getting a match at the pay-per-view without wrestling a single match. What was your takeaway about Willow winning the championship only for Mercedes to come out and steal her thunder? And how are you feeling about Mercedes not getting in the ring yet, getting a championship while we have the ranking system in AEW that they build their TV off of? And how do you feel about Mercedes? I know it's a loaded question, but how do you feel how do you feel about Mercedes being what social media is calling now one of AEW's biggest failures? Do you agree with that?
It is a loaded question. Now you added that part, bro.
Yeah. Well, start with Willow winning the championship and then Mercedes
Willow
coming out to steal her moment. Yeah.
Perfect thing, right thing to do. Now, Mercedes coming out, I thought it overshadowed Willow, but they had the New Japan thing. No, was it they wrestled each other in Japan.
Yeah, it was for New Japan. I think it was the New Japan Women's Strong Championship,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So I see the history behind there if you're a mark like us.
Yeah.
So you understand the history that was going on. The other part of this question is, did I like it? Not really, because I wanted Will to have a moment. And maybe on Dynamite, Mercedes comes out and kind of like says, yo, what up? But, you paid her a lot of money. Might as well put her on a pay-per-view. Now, is she a failure? Not 100%. She ain't failed the test. She got a C so far. And the reason why I say that is because she's been talking on the mic and doing promos. That is not Mercedes Moné's strength.
No.
Her strength is in the ring and kicking ass. So the fact that we haven't been able to see that, I can understand why people say it's a failure. But we gotta just wait, because that's not her forte. Her mic skills have never been her forte, and we're seeing that. So until she gets into the ring, she's at a C- for me right now.
I understand that, wanting to wait to see what she does, and every time Mercedes gets into the ring, it's always great. She's one of the best to ever do it. As far as the presentation, this is where I'm a little taken aback by Mercedes and the way AEW's handled her. Like you said, I completely agree. Her promo is her weakest stat. Like she does not cut a good promo. But the thing with me is, Tony Khan brings in Mercedes, signs her to X amount of money, paying her a lot of money. And I mentioned this on Wednesday when I did my show. It's almost as if he's paying for a cosplay of Sasha Banks as Mercedes Moné on AEW television, where what I mean by that is, AEW is the land of, being free or feeling a little freedom. Bullet points are to be had instead of writing and scripting out promos and going out there and reciting a promo sounding very robotic and unnatural. That's how Mercedes has sounded. Now, granted, she came in as a babyface because everybody missed her. They wanted to see her back on television. Great, but I feel like she's transitioning slowly into a heel, and I feel like she works better as a heel. Maybe when she actually makes that full transformation, maybe we'll get the real Mercedes to come out and sound a little bit more natural. But my point is, she's cut these promos and has sounded very WWE-like. She's watching TV in the back, fucking looking at the TV sideways, like Vince had them looking at the TVs, watching the match that's happening in the ring. It's very WWE-like. I don't know why you're bringing in Mercedes to be Sasha and not bringing in Mercedes to be fucking Mercedes Varnado. That's my problem. Like, go out there and be you. Why are we scripting promos? Why are you go out there reciting promos like you just remembered it 5 minutes before you went on live in front of a camera? That's my problem.
Well, that's probably why, because she's used to WWE.
You would think that she would be like, oh my God, I'm away from the system. I have the handcuffs are off. Let me do what I want to do. But she still sounds that way. Maybe it's the only thing she knows. I don't know.
It is the only thing that she knows. Like, remember, you're saying what it is. Remember, she was in that New England indie scene, and then she jumps into WWE. And she was there for a very, very long time. So when it comes to going back to TV, only thing you know is WWE TV. And they don't have a system over there at AEW where you're like, okay, this is how we do it here, this is how we learn it here. It's like, no. Like you said, it's free, which is a good thing for some people. So her going out there is like, I'm going to do what I remember from WWE. The way Vince taught me how to do this. Or Laurinaitis or whoever. So that's why you're getting, and I can agree with you, you're getting the dollar value in some ways, Sasha Banks, which is not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing when it comes to being over there in AEW.
No, because the whole presentation is different from what AEW produces as far as their television compared to WWE. And people in the chat are saying her theme song is the biggest heel because it's got to go. Like, yes, I understand the CEO part needs to go. It's very obnoxious, but I mean, she loves it. What am I gonna say? What are we gonna say? It is what it is. But how do you feel about her getting a championship match and she hasn't wrestled a match yet? Do you find that to be a little obnoxious and maybe insult your intelligence as a viewer? Because I know Tony Khan made a big deal about that. Well, she's not medically cleared, which I don't really believe because she was very fit. She was very physical on the first night. She did her finishing move to, I think it was Julia Hart, but she's not medically cleared. I mean, I don't want to sit here and say Tony Khan's a flat out liar, but I also don't think that, she's getting active in the ring on night one and posting training videos online and then not medically cleared to be in the ring. But what do you feel about her getting a championship match and then having her not wrestle one single match yet?
I paid her. She's got to do something. I paid her way too much. He paid her way too much money. I'm not in a bad way, but I just gave you I backed up the Brinks truck to your fucking home, gave you a shit ton of money. You're going to get into a title match. Make my title mean something. Because it hasn't meant something in a long time, that TBS title.
I don't think it's meant anything ever. So even when Jade had it.
Oh, my point exactly. So I just gave you a shit ton of money. You expected me to I can't take it off of Tony Storm. Tony Storm's working magic right now.
Yes.
So what am I going to do? All right, there's another title. Make it mean something. Go. Willow, thank you for hold it down, for keep it warm. Mercedes, come here, beat her, make this mean something.
I could see that being the case. I'm sure that's how the discussion went too.
Yeah, we're gonna do this right now. We're gonna make it something out of nothing right now because we need this to happen. So that's how I feel about it because I'm going off of the fact that I just gave you a shit ton of money. You get to work.
Yeah, it's a little bizarre that she hasn't wrestled and won't wrestle till Double or Nothing. But again, I'm not the booker. The ranking system needs to go if that's the way they're going to insult the fans' intelligence. I just have a lot of problems with it. But Mercedes, hopefully she ends up paying off for AEW in the end, and I hope that there is some great story to come out of her being there because right now we haven't seen anything, and I can understand the fans' frustration in that. But there is a plan. They brought in her personal writer. Things are happening. It's just happening at a snail's pace. So she will probably end up winning that championship from Willow at Double or Nothing. And I expected a lot more. That's all I could say. Me being a big Sasha guy and a Mercedes guy, to see her not have any impact like Osprey has had for the women, where I thought that was a glaring issue over there, is a little disappointing. So,
but you said but we just watched one of the greatest matches of ever.
Yeah.
When it came to Osprey, he was in action.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, until Mercedes gets into action, the impact is not going to be felt at all. She's got to wrestle.
That's a good point. Is she going to be the Osprey for the women's division? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, she's got the capabilities to do it, but we haven't seen it yet. And we will end with this. The last thing we will end on before we get to you guys' questions and concerns in the Super Chats. Jack Perry made his return at AEW Dynasty, and he helped the Young Bucks become the first ever 3-time AEW Tag Team Champions. FTR were the opponents there. And obviously, you guys know what had happened with the footage being shown and Tony Khan showing the footage of CM Punk and Jack Perry at All In. Now, I will get into this before we get our thoughts and opinions on the topic. There was a question at the pre-show, I think it was the conference call before the show, and it was alluded to that Tony Khan and CM Punk had an issue because CM Punk called out Tony Khan about his medical bills not being paid while he was still employed by AEW when he got injured. And Tony Khan's response to this, because Punk's accusation sounded like a pretty big deal, and Punk said that he had suffered the torn tricep and AEW did not pay for his surgery. Tony Khan said this while he was on the call with the media before the show on Sunday. I quote, "We typically do pay those expenses. I'd have to look into that," which made me raise my eyebrows at that one point there. I'll get back to that. "We can't say for sure. It doesn't sound right to me. If that is the case, then I would reimburse him, honestly. I didn't think that was the case, and it doesn't sound right, so I would have to look into that. Typically, we do cover those medical expenses, especially for something that occurred in the ring, as that did, so I would have to look into that, but no, I'm not sure about that. I can't say for sure." Now, what got me about this is you're the fucking boss. You're the CEO. You should have all eyes and ears on everything that's going on. I don't know where the fuck you are. Your biggest star doesn't get transportation to the show. Your biggest star, this was before All In, your biggest star at the time gets injured and you don't know what's going on with his injury. You don't set up a fucking doctor's appointment. You don't set up a surgery. You don't tell him it's all taken care of. Just go home and rehabilitate, get the surgery and go home. Wilkins, how doesn't he know? Or is he completely bullshitting us? Is Tony Khan the biggest bullshit artist in the industry?
Yes. Well, like his name should be Petty Tony. That motherfucker he was talking shit on that call. He knew the motherfucker got injured. And he said, "Suck my dick, pay your shit." That's what he said. But he's going to pay the nice guy on the call because he has to. He got to be professional. He don't like CM Punk. He ain't going to pay CM Punk back. The mere fact he got no ride when he was over there in England says everything to me.
It's amazing. I mean,
he literally was like, "Yo, fuck you."
He's like the only person. CM Punk said the only person that reached out to him and really facilitated and got things going was Doc Sampson because he knew him from his days in WWE. Like, how you're the fucking boss? How don't you know? Like,
he knew. He just didn't give a fuck.
It's so stupid. And then in the same fucking call, he says about the Jack Perry footage being aired because I went nuclear on this shit. And I hated it. There was several reasons why I hated it. It was legitimately the biggest stream that I've ever done for AEW. Everybody tended to agree with me except the AEW elitists. But Tony Khan says that TBS at the end of that show told him, "Good job with airing the All-In fight footage and the rating that came in. Good job." He says, and I quote, "TBS called me and told me, 'Good job. You have to remember I'm responsible for everybody's job in the company. It's really important for us to please the network.' And TBS was really happy with that show." So the ratings, a lot of people tend to think that the ratings don't matter. Some people think the ratings do matter. When AEW's got a great week in the ratings, Tony Khan's the first to tweet about the ratings. When they are sub 700,000, you won't hear a fucking peep out of him. But this week it was 812,000. So he was going to gloat about the ratings being up 29%. And the demo being up 9%. Then the following week, they went down to 762,000. You didn't hear a fucking peep out of him. So, good job on the ratings, Tony. So, Wilkins, the thing is with this, he is basically saying, well, TBS thought it was a good job. TBS is very happy with me. That's fine. But what about the backlash on social media and the people that fucking pay their hard-earned money to go sit in the arenas and pay for 9 pay-per-views now on a calendar year to watch your product, who didn't like it, who voiced their opinions about it, who basically said this adds no interest or intrigue to the match that you're showing us at the pay-per-view? What about the fans? It's almost as if he shit all over the fan base. What did you make of that comment?
He was full of shit. I don't think they called him and said that. I generally think Tony be full of shit sometimes, man.
So you're in the same line of thinking as I am. Tony again wanted to double down and justify out of all the hatred that he got that week. I did the right thing, and TBS said I did a good job, and that's all that matters, even though nobody thought he did a good job.
Listen, I have lied to my girlfriend. I have said things to her, and then when I got caught in the lie, I will double the fuck down. That's what the
and
fuck
how well does that go over? How well does that go over, man? Did she ever say you're full of shit?
It never goes over well. But at the same time, I'm going to, if I'm lying, I'm going to double down on this lie. I'm going to double down, make it believable to the point that I believe it. I'm going to go to bed at night like, yo, yeah, that's what happened, even though it didn't happen. And you know what? Sometimes I don't even blame the dude, bro. Like, yo, this is my company. I got to make it look good. So you know what? I'm going to tell everybody that they called me and said that we did a good job. Because you can argue with it because the ratings did go up. I think he's full of shit. But at the same time, you know what, bro? Do what you got to do.
Yeah, really. I feel like it added no intrigue to the match that we saw. Now, granted, listen, Jack Perry, I've said once, I'm going to say it again, I'm not backtracking. I don't think anybody genuinely gives a shit about Jack Perry's inclusion on AEW television. I don't think Jack Perry's going to be a game changer in any sense of the word. I don't think Jack Perry's going to automatically boost the ratings. It may be good for Jack Perry right now because, I mean, look at where he was doing Jungle Boy with fucking Luchasaurus. I would much rather prefer this Jack Perry and him lean into what he did with CM Punk and create this new image and this new character for himself. That's fine. That's good for Jack Perry. But is Jack Perry going to be a difference maker on AEW television when we're signing Osprey and bringing in Mercedes and having Okada out there and Swerve as the world champion? I mean, he's not going to make a lick of a difference. So for Tony Khan to blatantly lie to us, the fans, and tell me, oh, yeah, the interest in the match is up because of the footage that we've shown. Well, first of all, the footage didn't really matter to the overall match because the match came about with two teams that were in the same tournament together. And you're telling this story 9 months later. Meanwhile, you should have showed the footage fucking 2 weeks after it actually happened, but you didn't do that because, for whatever reason, they didn't do it. And the thing is, you're trying to sell me on this footage making sense in the FTR and Young Bucks feud now, but I don't know how many people remember, and I cited this several times, coming out of All In legitimately a week after that show last year, FTR and the Young Bucks team together on the same team to battle Bullet Club Gold. So you want to spin this off as, oh, they lost the match because of this footage in this situation, and this is why we're showing the footage now. But we know that's not the fucking case. It was a ratings ploy. It was desperate. And if CM Punk didn't go on Ariel Helwani, this footage would have never been shown. So who the fuck are you fooling? So I guess we can make an assumption here, and a real one, that Tony Khan is a bullshit artist. So,
yes, and it's fine. Because, like I said, I'll be lying to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I gotta double down. And he's going to double down to make himself look good. And I said this numerous times. This shit didn't do anything. Now, you did raise a good point. Jack Perry, better character. He went to New Japan. His stuff is selling. So you know what? This helped out Jack Perry. This helped sell some merch. It helped build up his character. My thing is this as a flash in the pan for Jack Perry, or is it going to lead to something better?
No, it's not. It's going to be a flash in the pan. It's going to be very short-lived, and it's not going to lead into any long-term storytelling. Because I'm not sitting here feeling that I believe in Tony Khan to take us there. He hasn't done anything to make me feel like I should believe in him. I'm not invested. So I don't know how you felt when Jack Perry came out, but you know what I felt? Jack shit. Zero. I didn't feel anything. It's like, all right, there's Jack Perry. We all kind of knew he was going to be there. I mean, they kind of alluded to it. That's the reason why they showed the footage. But he came out, he smiled, he got taken away. It's like, all right, Young Bucks are tag team champions. We knew that was going to happen. They got the big group now. Jack Perry's going to be with them. What is he going to do? Where's he going to go? How's he going to fit in? Is he going to win a championship? How's he going to factor into television? They don't got CM Punk on television. Who the fuck is he going to feud with?
But you know what? I'm going to give CM Punk his flowers right now. Because anybody knows me, I can't stand that toxic motherfucker, but I got to give him his flowers.
Oh, you may be popular with some of the people in the chat then.
Yeah, I can't stand this toxic motherfucker CM Punk. But the mere fact a whole group is about to be formed just because you did an interview,
listen, I mean, he's the hardest working man in both WWE and AEW, man.
Yeah, holy. Bro. The boy, over.
Jesus Christ, man. It's ridiculous. I didn't really care for it. The Young Bucks won. Your initial reaction when he came out, the same as mine. You don't really give a shit?
I was like, this is cool. Like, I fucks with Jack Perry after this whole situation. I like the fact that he's been leaning into it. I don't know if it's more him or if it's more Tony, but whatever it is, he's leaning into it. Did I know it was coming? Yeah, I knew it was coming, and it was cute. It was a little cute. It's like a puppy. It was like cute. Yo, that's cute. I'm gonna go on to do what I'm doing. I like FTR as a tag team. I think they're fucking losers sometimes when they say shit, but when they wrestle, I like it. I like them wrestling. I like when they wrestled the Young Bucks. I thought it was a good match because I like their different styles. But after that, ain't nothing much. It ain't much coming out of this. I'm hoping something come out of this. I'm always very hopeful for AEW because I will always say they're needed within this realm of professional wrestling. It's just that Tony Khan be fucking up. So, yeah.
I'll end with this. I'll leave the floor to you. What do you want to see changed out of all the mistakes that AEW made? I know you alluded to it earlier that you want them to focus on them and forget the past. Outside that, where do you want them to focus on, and what do you want them to do coming out of Dynasty, which was a great show, and really just focus on going into Double or Nothing? What's the one thing you change?
Stories. Let's add more stories. We have the wrestling, and we don't need too much stories because we don't need to be WWE. Add a little bit more story, add a little bit more anticipation for shit, and don't sign anybody right now. Fuck these games, these wannabe game changers.
Yeah.
Just fucking do your shit what you got right now and work. Because there's so much potential in this company.
That's it, folks. I told you from time, I started this with AEW. They told stories, and they seem to have moved away from that. And now, I've preached that for many years with Vince and now Triple H in charge. Story is king. Without stories, we got nothing. And with stories, everything that you see on television, including a match like Osprey and Danielson, it is going to be better. So
yeah,
I agree with that.
Like it's they have the wrestling. It is some of the best wrestlers in the world over at that company. But just focus on and I know we can go back in history, look at ECW taking shots at WCW, WWE, WWE taking shots at WCW, all this other shit. Yeah. But it was shots here and there. It wasn't a complete focus on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, and I hope that they fix it because I love AEW. I think a lot of people love AEW, and they believe that, like Wilkins said, they are needed in this realm. But with stunts like they did with Jack Perry and CM Punk, it really makes you question if they're going to have the longevity to survive. So I hope that is certainly the case with Tony Khan and AEW. And we, ladies and gentlemen, have come to the end of our wrestling talk, and we are going to get into your questions. If you got any questions for us, if you got questions for me or Wilkins, make sure you guys get them in via the Super Chats. And I want to thank Wilkins for once again joining me on episode 45 of TNT. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed what we brought to the table today. I want to thank him personally. He was the first guy out of everybody to reach out to want to be on this show. And I thought tonight was a home run. No doubt about it. Wilkins, share with everybody again where they can find you and what you're doing.
You can find me on Sir Wilkins, SIR_Wilkins, WILKINS. I'm also 1/3 of the Jobbeteers podcast. I also, with my team, we're also throwing a wrestling show August 24th called Jobber Slam, and we got some real big names that's going to be wrestling on that show. JD, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate your time and your patience with me tonight. Sorry about all the cursing.
Yeah, you're talking about the guy who does nothing but curse. That's all good, man.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Guys, let's get through these super chats. I want to start off with Michael Krause with the $2 super chat. What's up, JD? Congrats for 45. Thank you, Michael Rosendale, with a $4.99. I love you, JD. This comment's gonna piss me off. I love you, JD, but Will Ospreay is terrible. Really?
What?
Really? With Wilkins making his appearance tonight, that's the comment you're leaving me?
What?
Jesus Christ, guys. I just may call the night there.
Opinions are opinions.
I know. Listen, brother, thank you for the $4.99. Clone Force with the $4.99. If Hook goes to WWE or NXT in the future, 2 or 3 years from now, when he goes to the main roster, should he be a Paul Heyman guy? I mean, listen, man, that's quite the long-term booking aspect there. But let's get Hook out of AEW first, as I do think that he will probably be better off in NXT. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. He'll get some love down there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I was to gauge Taz's opinion on that as well off the record, I would probably make a guess that he would think that his son is better off in WWE as well. David Thiering with a $100 super chat. My goodness. Allow me to get the bomb party going, JD, for this new era of TNT. Just want to say welcome to Sir Wilkins. Looking forward to hear your perspective on the current landscape of pro wrestling. Have a great discussion, guys. I'll be listening in. Cheers. That obviously came in before the show, but David, thank you so very much, brother. We appreciate it. Tone C with a new membership to the channel. Thank you, Tone C. Dwayne Jackson with this fucking guy. Dwayne Jackson with a $200 super chat. I keep reading reports that Mercedes is not medically cleared until Double or Nothing. Why did TK sign her if she's not medically cleared in the first place? It's not different than an NFL or NBA or MLB franchise giving a star player lucrative contracts that were already on the DL and can't play.
Great point.
It is a good point, but I'm going to go with what we discussed. I think Tony Khan's a bullshit artist. I really do. I don't think Mercedes is as injured as she says she is. I don't know what the reason is for her being off television because things just don't line up. But if she is injured, I would gladly admit I'm wrong. I just don't see the point in holding off on her first match. You debuted her in March all the way to the end of May. It's like the amount of television time lost and she's not making an impact is severe to a point where she may never recover. That's just me. I don't know. I know you said what you said about it, but she's got to be in the ring to wrestle. Mm-hmm. PD Shaw with the 38 months. I'm looking forward to this episode, and I'm anxious to see how this collab works out. I'm expecting greatness. It's what you do. OTS and TNT for life. Well, I think tonight was a huge success, PD Shaw. Thank you so very much, brother. Rudy V with 9 months. Continuing to learn from you and your podcast, JD. Hanging out in the venue talking wrestling tonight is something I look forward to during the week. Rudy, thank you. Swazi with a $9.99. I would have had Bianca Belair win the world title, build the growing jealousy of Jade Cargill for a year with that story. Becky Lynch is in the past.
Ooh, that was spicy.
Listen, I don't think Jade is at that point yet. I do think that she and Bianca will be headed toward a WrestleMania match at some point. But I think Bianca is in the same realm as Becky. I think we're over that. Like, Bianca has done literally everything with every major title. Why are we going to go back to that? If anything, Bianca needs a heel turn. That's my personal take. I don't know. Studa Beats with a $4.99. Hurt Cameron Grimes is gone. Big shocker. He had potential. I mean, it's not really a shocker, but yes, I don't think he got the opportunity to show what he's made of. Dwayne Jackson with a 20. Is it just why do these AEW pay-per-view cards have to be stacked? I've noticed that a couple of main events have been rushed. They've been okay, but I'm expecting a lot more for a main event. Well, Dwayne, I think the reason is that Tony Khan just wants to really kind of put the 8, 9, 10 matches behind the pay-per-view to warrant the $50 price tag. But, I mean, I always went back and looked at what Triple H did with NXT TakeOver. Though it was on the network and we paid a flat fee of $4.99 for it, I mean, he had 5 matches and we were begging for more. I wish Tony Khan would take that into consideration, but a lot of people tend to think it's not worth the $50 price tag. If you give me matches like Osprey and Bryan up and down the card for 5 or 6 matches total, I mean, to me, it's worth $50 for a show. I don't know what Wilkins thinks about that.
Nah. I think you raised a good point. Like, I'm paying $50. Might as well get a full card, right? 8 to 10 matches.
Somba with a $5 super chat. Put the lotion in the basket. Von Wagner's gone, bro. I mean, listen, I think Von Wagner had some decent in-ring ability, and if he shows up in an MLW or a TNA, I think, that would be very good for him. But right now, WWE clearly didn't see anything in him, and he's no longer with the company. D-Man with a $4.99. WWE says it's a new era, and yet Becky Lynch is the new women's world champion, but I get it. But I still hate it. Listen. I mean, Wilkins started off the show by calling her Becky Hogan because that's what Twitter is saying. So, I mean, you're not the only one that feels that way. El Masse with a $5 super chat. Serious question, Mr. Wilkins. Lola Vice or Nick Wayne's mom? Oh, my goodness.
Oh. Nick Wayne mom, baby. Nick Wayne mom. AEW. All elite white woman.
Oh, my God. Listen, man. Lola Vice is a beautiful woman, but Nick Wayne's mom also, bro. I tell you what, man. I'll tell you this. I was at World's End, and I was at the bar with Drew, and sitting across from us was Nick Wayne's mom. She's better looking in person than she is on TV.
Yup. Yup. You right.
She was there. I think she was talking to one of the agents. I forgot who was there. It might have been Jerry Lynn. I mean, the look on his face just told the entire story, man. It's like, this woman's pretty attractive. Rosengale with a $1.99. I love the show, but Will Ospreay, I mean, you just gave me this super chat. Will Ospreay's terrible twice? Come on, man. The Fang King with a $4.99. I can agree with that. I was mad at first, but I was thinking about it, but it does make sense. What are you talking about, brother? I mean, there was a lot of things that made sense here tonight. MGM Ballin with a $4.99. Nice to meet you, Sir Wilkins. JD had nice things to say about you. He clearly wasn't wrong. Just sub to the channel. Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you.
There you go. Go listen to the Jobber Tears podcast, guys. It's available on all audio platforms and on YouTube, correct? Are you on YouTube with the Jobber Tears too?
Yeah.
Okay. So go check it out, guys. I tell you, it's gonna be worth your while. Phil with a $9.99. JD, I will always have your back and support this community. I love the new era of TNT. Sir Wilkins, not only do you have a new follower and listener, but you can come back anytime. You fit right in.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Michael J. Sanchez with a $4.99. My take, Sammy rejoins the Bloodline and KO goes heel and teams with The Rock and Solo's Bloodline. I don't know about that last part, but I could see Sammy rejoining as the honorary Uce for sure.
Honorary Uce.
D-Man, Sir Wilkins, you are cool as ice, says D-Man. Thank you, D-Man.
Thank you, D-Man.
Ali with a $4.99. Sir Wilkins, first of all, it's a pleasure to meet you. My question to you is, what is your favorite Bray Wyatt moment? Ooh.
Oh, favorite Bray Wyatt was when he first came back, and he
Really?
made that in the ring.
Okay.
I had a lot of death in like life, so I've said some things about him because I didn't understand what he was going through, and looking back at it, like the dude was amazing, bro.
I would say my personal favorite moment is when he won the WWE title in Elimination Chamber, beating John Cena and AJ Styles in the same match.
Yeah.
Edward Liu with a $4.99. JD Sir Wilkins for Kevin Owens. Does his draft tradition of switching brands continue, or is the streak over and he stays on SmackDown? That's a very good question. I don't know. It's like the big show when it comes to drafts.
Because, and I like that question of how he worded that of being the person that switches, because he's one of those guys that just can work with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a Raw move fits him best. I think he's kind of tapped into everything on SmackDown. Edward, thank you, brother. Philip with a $4.99. Cameron Grimes will take it to the moon wherever he goes. I agree.
Yep, we all agreed that early in the show.
Philip also with a $1.99. Like it or not, the Shield took over the business. The Shield is one of the greatest stables that WWE's ever had.
Yep, I agree with that. I don't know if you agree with that, JD.
With the Shield being one of the greatest stables ever?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree completely. I mean, Shield and Undisputed Era, outside the norm, like DX, everybody goes to DX or the four. I loved Undisputed Era. So, yeah, the Undisputed Era was probably number 2 as far as this generation's greatest stables, for sure.
Yeah, of course.
The fourth one with the $2 Super Chat. Yo, JD, have you gotten your Hammerhead yet? Yes, I do. Fourth, I will talk about that tomorrow. Studa Beats with a $4.99. JD and Sir Wilkins, you guys are killing it. Do y'all think Fatu should debut this Friday or in France? Well, we talked about that, Studa. The rumor is Friday. He will be there, but I think, like Wilkins says, is the best way to go. We debut him mysteriously. He's on TV. We don't know a name. We don't know who he is or his affiliation. But then he shows up in France and beats the shit out of Jey Uso. TK Banks with a $10 Super Chat. Seth being the most vital piece for WrestleMania when everyone was saying he was the fourth wheel in that main event and didn't belong. Props to WWE for making sense of Seth's involvement. The MVP for sure. Yes. Excellent comment, TK Banks. Furious Nation with a $9.99. What's up, JD and Wilkins? Great TNT tonight. Looking forward to the future of the show. Thoughts on Tony Storm's takes from the AEW Dynasty Media Scrum? And would you bring in Jim Johnston to WWE for their theme music again?
Yes. Jim Johnston needs to come back.
Yes, Def Rebel is not doing it for me. I think everything is as bland as could be. And Tony Storm is AEW's greatest character on television right now.
Mm-hmm.
Chris with the 21 months in the OTS venue. Thank you, Chris. If you're in the chat and you're a supporter of JD, put the ones up in the chat. JD, OTS, TNT, cheers. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. For your Furious Nation with the 499, watching past WWE drafts like 2004 and 2008, would you book the draft from 2004 to 2008, or would you book it differently? Nation, I think we discussed that earlier. We both want a more sports-like presentation to where all the cheesiness that Vince went about is gone, and they really take some ideas from the NFL draft and the NBA draft and really apply it and make it their own. I think that's the best way to go about it. Christopher Cruz with the 199. Trick Williams is your new NXT champion, as I would expect, because Ilya Dragunov is going up to the main roster. So congratulations to Trick Williams. I didn't think they were going to do that to him, but, I mean, what better way to learn what you need to do as world champion, you know?
From just quickly, from the people that my insider information with WWE, they kept Carmelo down there on purpose to put over Trick.
Which is the right thing to do. I think that was the best
No, it was the right thing to do, but that was why Melo wasn't called up earlier.
Yeah.
He was asked, like, yo, do us this favor and help elevate Trick before you go.
Says a lot about Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
So
and he was like, yeah, he'll do it. I mean, obviously he wants to go up to the main. He wanted to go up to the main roster because he's really he's salivating at the mouth right now to be at the main roster. But he also understands the bigger picture. And
he's more than ready too. And now that Trick Williams is the champion, give me that Trick Williams and Dijak feud for the world title. Yeah. Dijak's my guy. Furious Nation, thank you, brother. Christopher Cruz, thank you for the 199. Winfield Barnes with a 999. No message. Thank you, Winfield. Antoine with a 10. Going back to Tama Tonga, I expect him to side with AJ Styles and create a new Bullet Club. And like I said before, we are seeing a second Bloodline Civil War planned, but I'd rather see Bullet Club. No, Tama Tonga is not going to the Bullet Club, and he's not joining AJ Styles. I don't know where you got that from. Nation with a 499. Also, congrats to the new NXT champion, Trick Williams. Ilya Dragunov NXT call-up inevitable. Looking forward to Dragunov versus Gunther. Yes. Anything Gunther is a part of, I am sold. Clone Force with a 499. That could get Sammy involved and back with Roman and Usos together. The fact Tama Tonga attack Kevin Owens and SmackDown if they all end up on the same brand. This is what intrigues me the most, Clone Force, that Triple H is involved, and I know he's got the major stories in the back of his mind, and he's going to do what needs to be done. So we will see how he plays out this draft. I'm very excited to see what he's got. Furious Nation with 499. Very excited for Jacob Fatu and WWE in for a treat with him. Definitely a game changer and the modern-day Umaga. Cheers, guys, and have a good night. Thank you, Furious. Vinny with a 499. Twitter, X has made wrestling unbearable at times with the tribalism and complete idiocy. That said, I only use it because I have a show to do here. If I didn't have my YouTube channel, I would not be on there. It's a waste of time. Lewis with a 199. Great show, JD. Like always, and I like Wilkins. Thank you, Lewis. Crunchy Sock with a 499. Meltzer might get hurt. How hard he's riding Osprey. Also, Kenny versus Osprey, Forbidden Door was the best Osprey match to me. Listen, man, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not, but everybody's got their own flavor, you know? Yeah. Some people like Danielson Osprey, some people like Omega Osprey. You can't go wrong with either one. Basic with a 999. I might catch heat for this, but how can Mercedes demand such a big pay when her promo skills are poor? Maybe she is good in the ring, but it's hard to listen to her. I mean... listen, I mean, her resume speaks for itself. What she's done to build a revolution and a division speaks for itself. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, there are a ton of guys that were at the top of the game that weren't a good promo. I can't think of any right now because it's late, but, I mean, yes, she's worth the money. Hopefully. David with a $100 super chat. David, you are coming in clutch here, brother. Great work tonight, guys. Love the energy from Wilkins. Question for Wilkins. With the draft coming up and Raw changing over to Netflix, which champion would you prefer leading the Raw brand? Cody, or who is currently there right now in Damian Priest?
Cody.
I think Cody's going to... I don't know. It's funny because the draft... If WWE wants to have Cody on SmackDown for the duration of this year, I think it's a safe bet. But when the draft happens next year, I could see Cody moving over to Netflix. But I don't know why they wouldn't move him now. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a very sticky situation. I'm sure that's going to play a big part in that. Rooney from Pond Country with a 199. Your host, what? I don't know what this says. Back to this. I'm not even reading that. This guy, get this guy out of the chat. This guy is a complete loser. Goodbye. He was already banned. Good. Thank you, Hologram. David M. With a 99 times 2. David, you are a fucking savage, brother. Say my name and the Bomb King arrives. Now it's 2-1 only. I mean, you guys are going back and forth with who donates the most $100 super chats. I mean, you guys are fucking crazy. Third one is a charm, pal. 3 from David M. Unbelievable. David, you are absolutely unbelievable. Appreciate you. We got a super chat from Snowman Khan with a 279. This is justified. Great show. Love the energy. Thank you, Snowman Khan. Basic with a 999. Guys throwing bombs out here. I throw firecrackers. David, it doesn't matter, man. Any little bit helps. Saya with a $10 super chat. Mercedes had an ankle injury. Her moveset requires her to use her feet and ankles a lot, especially when she is responsible for opponent's safety when having to lift them, take moves, and do moves. Thank you, Saya, for the medical update. Appreciate you. David M. with another $100 bomb. This guy's crazy. I'm making a custom Bomb King Championship belt. I'll hit you up with my guys over at Wrestle Rumble. They know the best. Thank you, David M. I appreciate your generosity, brother. 242 Shaka with a 499. Sir Wilkins, what's the reason why you don't fuck with Swerve? LOL.
Outside of wrestling, he's not the nicest person, but that's a different conversation for later.
Oh my goodness! I mean, I could tell you a little. I mean, he wasn't a big fan of mine either. But when he seen me at the House of Glory show, he shook my hand. So I guess
I'll shake your hand. He shook my hand. It was. Listen, the dude's talented. That's all I'm gonna say. And you know, I love Nana.
Nana is great. Phil with a 499 for you both. If you can send 2 people from NXT to Raw and SmackDown, 1 each, and 2 people down to NXT, who would y'all pick? I mean, I think the people that are getting called up, Phil, are the people that I want on Raw and SmackDown. Ilya and Carmelo, long overdue. If I was to choose another one, I'd probably take Roxanne Perez. Mm-hmm. And who am I moving down? I mean, that's a tough one because WWE is a lot of. I move Candice LeRae back down there and Indy Hartwell. Honestly, I don't think they need to be on the main roster.
I'm with you on that one, and then I would send Otis.
Otis is a good one.
I think Otis would thrive with NXT, where NXT is right now.
Jose Perez with a 199. Welcome to the venue, Wilkins. Hope to see you back. Thank you, Jose. Wrestle Mess with a 199. Who do you think are the first pick of the 3 brands? Well, if you're not picking Cody first, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. So, Cody, Priest, and Trick. What the fuck are you gonna do? Like, seriously. And David, finally, with the last one of the evening with a $5 super chat. You need to put David M at close to damn near the top of the investors list for the venue with all these bombs he's been throwing. Man, I don't know what I'm going to do with David. David's out of control. It's crazy. Listen, guys, TNT 45 is in the books. I want to thank Wilkins for joining me on what I thought was a tremendous show. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. Once again, quickly, plug where they can find you, and we'll call it a night.
You can find me on every form of social media, Sir Wilkins, SIR_Wilkins, WILKINS. I'm also 1/3 of the Jobber Tears podcast. We're on all forms of social media. Jobber Tears, JOBBER, Tears, TEARS, and the word podcast on all forms of social media and on always wherever you listen to your podcast. And we're also on YouTube.
Thank you to Wilkins for being here. Next week, we got my guy Ango. So Ango's going to join us next week, and the new co-host, the new permanent co-host, debuts on May 7th. Wilkins knows who it is.
Y'all gonna love it.
Oh my goodness. Wilkins' jaw dropped when he heard the news when I told him earlier yesterday. So you guys are going to be in for a treat. But we had a great show, and we're going to continue the tradition on Tuesday nights with the best pro wrestling talk in the community. Thank you guys for a great show. Follow me on social at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, turn on the bell for notifications, and make sure you go check out all the other content that is currently on my homepage right here on YouTube. Guys, episode 46 next week with my guy Angle right here on Tuesday Night Titans. I'll see you later.